GNCC is back on RacerTV.com here today, and just a couple of weeks ago it was Johnny Girard, and what was his worst finish of the season, it didn't matter. It was enough for him to capture the 2024 National Championship in the XC1 Pro Class. A congratulations to him, but plenty of things to race for here in silly season. Jordan Ashburn, so good in tough conditions, it's going to be a mutter. Can Jordan Ashburn go back-to-back here today? Can Grant Davis capture that XC2 championship? It all starts right here, right now on RacerTV.com.
Are you ready to go? GNCC Racing!
Good afternoon and welcome to round number 12 of the 2024 Progressive Grand National Cross Country Racing Series presented by Specialized, your AMA National Championship. We are here, southeastern Ohio. Johnny, the longest standing race on the schedule. The wise coach John Penton, man, there is really no place like this, and we always get one extreme or the other. It's either hot, dusty, or it's muddy, and this year we got the mud.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, this place always brings the extremes. It's like you said, it's either hot, dusty, you can't see, or it's mud, and everybody's having a problem even getting around the facility. So we got the latter of the two this weekend. It's offered up some great racing action so far, and we expect so much more of that here today.
Yeah, going to be a great race weekend. Obviously, we go back a couple of weeks. Johnny Girard wrapping up that championship. And what's interesting to me, Johnny, you know, he's got wins under his belt this year, right? But Johnny Girard very, very focused on the long game. He says, I'm focused on the championship. Well, go figure, on his worst race of the season, he seals the deal on the championship.
Yeah, I mean, and that really is what championship fights are all about. I mean, you have to maximize your points on your bad day. Johnny obviously having a terrible setback early on, even before he completed lap number 1, outside the top 20, outside points paying positions, and we just watched him all day long just march his way up rider by rider, position by position, and ultimately that was the points that he needed to clinch this 2024 title.
So big congratulations to Johnny Girard. We know that's established, but hey, there's still plenty of things to be racing for. We call it silly season for a reason. Everybody, they want that momentum heading into the off season, and a guy who picked that up a couple weeks ago, without a doubt, Jordan Ashburn, winning in hot, dusty conditions. We flip the script today. This is kind of what we say is Jordan's strong suit. You made a good point last race. Really, he's just a great technical rider. Mud, dust, whatever. The man is just good when conditions get tough.
Jordan is a threat anytime he goes to the starting line, but when the conditions get outside the realm of normal, I mean, perfect dirt, maybe not his wheelhouse. He's good at finding grip when there is none, which makes him good in the mud. He's good in the rocks, which we had 2 weeks ago. He's good when the visibility conditions are low. Basically, the tougher the race gets, Jordan really starts to shine, and we may see that here today.
That's it.
The track, obviously, for yesterday's ATV race, in great condition, totally unexpected, honestly. But today, I hate to say the R word, but the rain's already started coming in this morning, and forecast doesn't look awesome for the rest of the day, but I think what that does is it gives us an opportunity to see some wild racing action.
Yeah, that is it. We'd be remiss not to mention Trevor Bollinger, man. He has been so many ups and downs, a lot more down since he's joined the XC1 class. Turned that around a couple of weeks ago, put himself on the podium.
Yeah, absolutely, and Trevor very emotional about that, and kind of letting everybody know how he felt about the tough times that he's been through, and making a statement. I think he's one of those riders very much involved in that silly season, trying to figure out where he may land for 2025, and then also, I mean, welcome again to the XC1 class to Liam Draper. 2 rounds in a row, first 2 rounds in XC1 with solid second place finishes, and not just second place finishes, on the rear knobbies of the race winner. So Liam Draper is the real deal. He's really riding that Ampro Yamaha 450 well, and I expect to see him in the mix again today.
It just seems like you see that sometimes from a rider that goes from the XC2 to XC1. It's just a better fit on the bike, and Liam, I think, is one of those guys. It just fits him very, very well. XC2 championship on the line. We've had 2 winners out of the XC2 this year. Of course, Josh Toth taking the first one, and kind of, he's racing where he wants, when he wants. But the other storyline was Grant Davis. He's been sensational all year. Overall podiums. He has an overall win this year. He is poised and comes away with a decent day today. He'll wrap that championship up.
Yeah, I think we looked before the show got started here. 54 points is the gap that he's carrying coming into the racing action today. Yep. Basically that means that he just needs to leave here with 30-point gap, so he can actually score 24 points less if Gus Reardon wins the race. So we can do some quick math, and he would have to finish around that 13th place position in the XC2 class, not overall, to wrap up that title today. So not a huge task for him, but at the same time, with the conditions and the pressure of a championship looming, absolutely nothing is for certain. If you're Gus Reardon, he's going to go out there absolutely set trying to grab the win today.
Yeah, win. Don't worry about what happens behind you. It settles where it settles. So going to be a great race day today. Johnny, XC3 coming into today.
Yeah, I mean, you can't count out Dakota DeVore. Yeah. I mean, obviously, in the conditions like this, he's been so good. But there's so many guys in that class that are competitive. You got Dirt Bike Jesus, Dustin Simpson, Jack Walker, all those guys going to be fighting and battling. And we're actually going to bring you all of that action and a whole lot more when we come back to Racer TV. We're going to let Mikey Waynes head out, do some 10-second calls, get this race off and rolling. We got a word from our sponsors. Make sure to stay tuned in and catch all the racing action here today.
When I take the bike out like this, all my stresses just melt away.
I hear that. This bad boy can fix anything.
Yep, tough day at work. Nice cruiser sorts you right out.
When I'm riding, I'm not even thinking about my painful cavity.
Well, you shouldn't ignore that.
And every time I get stressed about having to pay my bills, I just hop on the bike, man.
Oh, come on, man. You got to pay your bills.
You don't have to worry about anything when you're protected by America's #1 motorcycle insurer.
Well, you definitely do. Those things aren't related, so...
Oh, that is a vibrating pain.
Every generation believes they've invented the best way. With age comes wisdom.
How's it going?
We've come to realize that every piece of knowledge is learned, passed down from those generous and patient enough to teach.
It's bogging off the bottom. Let's take a look.
Legacy. It's not about leaving something behind to be remembered by. It's realizing that the future lies within the next generation.
Let's call it a night. All right.
The nature of true progress is humbly building something bigger than yourself. Rocky Mountain ATV MC. This is our legacy.
Progressive GNCC Racing is brought to you by Progressive. Progressive could save you hundreds of dollars on your automobile and motorcycle insurance. Specialized E-Turbo bicycles. It's you, only faster. RockyMountainATVMC.com. Get ready.
Dusty one here today. Tough conditions. A lot of riders hitting the deck. A lot of bike issues. But Jordan, Ashburn perseveres, Mikey.
Yeah, it's just absolutely a sensational. When things get tough, look out for Jordan Ashburn as he is going to check in right here. One more turn, and there is Ricky Towery waving the checkered flag, and the number 3 Coastal Racing Factory Gas rider, Jordan Ashburn, will take his first win of the 2024 season.
You know there's nothing angels everywhere, 'cause the righteous are the ones who disappear, inescapable. Soon you'll be back for more.
I like snowshoe. I like the Boy Scout race. John Penton's probably my favorite just because of the Penton section. And, you know, I've always liked that race, and it's, to me, like a character of old school GNCC. It's tighter, it's twisty. I love that race, and, you know, I've had a lot of podiums there and had a couple wins at that property, and, you know, that's a place I look forward to going back to this year.
The final section of racetrack, Jordan Ashburn makes his way home here in Ohio to be the 7th winner of 2023 and his 3rd win of his career. Now the final turn, he pitches the goggles as he makes his way across the finish line and makes it 2 John Pentons in a row for the 114 of Josh the Freight Train Strang.
It must be the oldest race course, I think, on the calendar. I think. No, I enjoy it there. I've won twice now. I mean, that place is crazy. We put the John Penton section in, and that makes it. It makes that race really hard. That one is very unique.
But the righteous are the ones who's giving in. Oh, there's nothing angels everywhere, 'cause the righteous are the ones who disappear, inescapable. Soon you'll be back for more.
And we want to welcome everybody watching at home on Racer TV. We just wrapped up a course description with Ryan Eccles, and now we're going to throw it to the voice of Rodney Tomlin for a little safety information for you guys.
Safety first. GNCC racing, like all motorsports, can be dangerous. Racers, now that you have had an opportunity to inspect the race course, have heard the race procedures and a description of the course, if you feel that either you or your machine is not prepared, then now is the time for you to withdraw for a complete refund of your entry fee, no questions asked. It is your responsibility to operate your machine in a safe manner, maintaining control at all times. Extreme caution is required when approaching areas with high concentrations of fans. Do not take unnecessary risks that endanger the safety of fans. You will be penalized for reckless racing. Race fans, due to the nature of GNCC racing, there is no fence barrier around the race course. It is your responsibility to keep yourself and your children a safe distance from the race course. Never turn your back on oncoming racers, and use extreme caution when crossing the race course. And remember, stay off the track. For the safety of everyone, unauthorized drones are prohibited and will be confiscated. Finally, unauthorized pit vehicles are prohibited and may be confiscated. Absolutely no pit vehicles permitted in the woods or on the racetrack. Crew members are prohibited from using pit vehicles during the race. Thank you for your cooperation. Have fun and race safe.
Well, thank you for that voice of Rodney Tomlin. If you did not know at home, we have actual live in-person Rodney Tomlin with us here this weekend. Stay tuned. We'll have something special from Rodney in a moment. But right now, as we know, this is the John Penton GNCC, the longest standing race for us on the GNCC series. And this weekend, we're privileged to have Jack Penton here with us, the son of John Penton. And Jack, man, you go way back in this thing yourself. And obviously, John not here with us this weekend, but he's still doing well, man. Tell us a little bit about the background of how really we're all here racing motorcycles, largely in part to the work that Dad did, and tell us a little bit about it and you guys.
Well, first of all, I'd like to say welcome everybody to the John Penton GNCC, and I'd like to thank the Coombs family for naming it the John Penton GNCC. Big Dave would be proud. And anyways, about ourselves, Dad, many years ago in the late 60s went to KTM in Austria, and he talked them into making a dirt bike. And that dirt bike was a Penton dirt bike here in the United States from 68 to 78. And in 78, they branded it KTM, and the bikes you're riding today come from the very same place that they came from in the very beginning. And we're proud that we can represent here. And Dad is now 99 years old, and all right. And he's doing really well. He's healthy. He wanted me to tell you, I was with him yesterday, he said, tell all those guys to be careful out there. So you be careful, have a good time. John Penton says hi.
Make some noise for Jack Penton. Make it loud enough John can hear us all the way back home. And I'm going to add to that, John, also a military veteran, a World War II veteran as well, Jack.
Yeah, he was in the Navy. He did service. He was in Okinawa. He saw all the things that it took to be a Navy seaman. And we thank all of our veterans.
Amen. Thank you, Jack. Appreciate you. What better way to segue from that now, as we have your undivided attention, we will turn the microphone over to Mr. Ricky Towery to lead us in a word of prayer.
Thank you, Mikey. Hey, let's go to the Lord this afternoon. Let's have a word of prayer together. Heavenly Father, thank you once again for bringing us all together safely so we can have a little fun. Lord, we ask that you would watch over these riders this afternoon, that you would keep them safe. Thank you once again for our military men and women watching over us and keeping us safe each and every day. Be with them. Lord, we do thank you for the Penton family, what they've done for our sport. Lord, continue to bless them and watch over them each and every day. I have a special prayer request today. If you would remember the Cole Madison family and friends, be with them in the days and weeks to come, that they may find some comfort through you. Lord, also the storm victims that got affected this week, be with them. Help them each and every day. Give them some patience is what it's going to take. It's going to take some time to get their lives back in order, but be with them each and every day that they could do that. Lord, we've been coming here so long, been so many good memories made at this place. We just ask that maybe this afternoon there could be a few more memories made. And then later today, as we head down the road home, take us all home safely so that one day we'll get back together again and we'll have some more fun. In Christ's name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Thank you for that, Ricky. And now as Ricky Towery will make his way high up into turn number 1, folks, he's going to be up there where he can get some good traction. So keep your eyes on Ricky for those starts. At this time, if you're able out of the XC2, I know it's a mutter, if you're able to step forward onto the XC1 line and lead us by example here. As now we ask, if you have not already, please stand at attention, remove your hats, and cross your hearts as we honor the greatest nation in the world with the playing of our national anthem.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming? whose broad stripes and bright stars.
Through the perilous fight,
o'er the ramparts we watched, were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets' red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the
All right, all right, all right. We are just about ready to set it off now here at the Wiseco John Penton GNCC. But first, we got to introduce our starting row for the XC1 Pro Class. Jeremy, you ready? I got a thumbs up. Without further ado, my favorite word, ado. We still don't know the definition. We're going to figure it out. Me and Don Hampton. Ladies and gentlemen, riding to the line first, the 969 and your 2024 national champion out of Boonville, North Carolina, aboard the FMF Factory Racing KTM, Johnny Gerard. Rolling to the line next, the 514 out of Hodges, South Carolina, aboard the Rocky Mountain Red Bear Racing Kawasaki, Stu Baylor. Up next, coming off his first win of the season, the number 3 out of Livingston, Tennessee, aboard the Coastal Racing Factory Gas, Jordan Ashburn. Up next, the 282 out of North Carolina, aboard the Phoenix Racing Honda. Say hello to Mike Wachowski. Up next, the 347 out of Jefferson, Georgia, on an Active Air, Max Motorsports, and FXR back Husqvarna, Evan Smith. And the number 7 out of Denver, North Carolina, on a JS Sherco Racing back Beta, Josh Strang. Up next, the 739 out of Morganton, North Carolina, aboard the Rockstar Energy Factory Racing Husqvarna, coming off a Podium, Trevor Bollinger. Up next, the 178 out of Australia, aboard the Babbitt's Online Monster Energy Team Green Kawasaki, Lyndon Snodgrass. He has been sensational in his XC1 debuts. Say hello to the 198 on the M Pro Yamaha, Liam Draper. Up next, the number 14, a rider out of Chile, on the Phoenix Racing Honda, Rui Barbosa. Up next, the 530 out of Connecticut, on an FMF Factory Racing KTM, Ben Kelly. And last but certainly not least, the 212 out of Duval, Washington, on the M Pro Yamaha, the rough and rowdy Ricky Russell. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is your starting row for the XC1 Pro Class here at the Wiseco John Penton GNCC. And as our XC1 riders take their positions on row number 1, DJ Judd exits the Monster Energy Activation Transport. He, I don't know, was that a hop, a skip to the Yamaha RMAX 1000, throws on the safety harness and everybody's favorite part, the sparkle helmet, because safety first, baby. And this is where we like to say, DJ Judd, remove the meat. As DJ Judd makes his way off of the starting line, all eyes will fixate down into turn number 1, where the maestro, Ricky Towery, will take the reins of this race. And we go as Ricky goes. Ricky keeping his eyes on the Monster Energy Activation Transport. Make sure we got a safe start line. And now Ricky says, here we go. Ricky Towery now lets our riders know 1 minute. 1 minute until we're ready to go. Wiseco, John Penton GNCC Racing. All right. And for the next segment, I'm going to turn it over to our good buddy, Rodney Tomlin. Take us home.
All righty, folks. Ricky's waving the flag. Let's shut him down, shut him down, shut him down. It's almost time to go GNCC Racing. And as I look across this muddy field here in southeastern Ohio, I ask you, GNCC race fans, are you ready to go GNCC Racing? All right, Ohio, I'm out here. We know where we are. We're in the mecca of off-road racing. So I'm going to ask you one more time. Ohio, are you ready to go GNCC Racing? 10 seconds. And row number 1, the XC1 Pro will be off and rolling at the John Penton GNCC.
If that'll give you cold chills, I don't know what will, baby. 347, Evan Smith will grab that Steel City Medical Center Whole Shot Award as we now turn our attention to the XC2 250 Pro class. Angus Reardon, Cody Barnes, Zachary Davidson, Toby Cleveland, Jason Tino, Brody Johnson, T-Rex Nick DeFeo. Welcome to the XC2. The blue flag waves, we get them shut down. It's Jesse Ansley, Sawyer Caratura, Jack Menta, Jason Liscombe, Grant Davis, Jonathan Johnson, and Thad Duvall. Ready to roll in 10 seconds. Bang, and they're off. Oh, look at that. T-Rex Nick DeFeo. Welcome to the XC2. Slipping, sliding. And the whole shot's going to go to the 981 of Jonathan Johnson for that Steel City Medical Center Whole Shot Award. But a strong start by the 246 of T-Rex right there in the fight. FMF XC3 125 Pro-Am class. Low Jack Cycle Sales Whole Shot Award up for grabs. 10 seconds. Tyler Shields, Rayleigh Messer, James Jern III, Dakota DeVore, Jack Walker, Joe Shriver, and the Dirt Bike Jesus, Dustin Simpson. Dustin Simpson choosing that outside line. Oh, takes a big roost right there, and it's going to go to the 217 of Tyler Shields out of Monterey, Tennessee, on that Landers back KTM. And here we go with a 250A class. 10 seconds. Ryan Piper, Cooper Jones, Gavin Simon, Hunter Bush, Collier Martinez, Wheel Steven Piper, Michael DeLosa, Austin Alcorn, and Trevor Maley. Round turn number 1 we go. It's the 4-4-1 out in front. That is Mike DeLosa, but no, it's going to go to the 2-2-0. Cooper Jones making the grown man move to put himself out in front on the KTM Open A class. Dylan T. De La Cruz, Kenton Coleman, Samuel Evans, Joe Cunningham. Wait on the signal from Ricky Towery here. Wait on Ricky's signal. Got one rider making his way to the side. Blue flag waves. We get them shut down. Ricky says, here we go. Here we go. 10 seconds. Ezra Prine, Trevor Holland, Cole Whitmer, Alex Trapp, Keenan Rupp, and Hunter Smith. Cole Whitmer up the inside. Number 59 machine. That's Samuel Evans, and Samuel Evans out of St. Albans, West Virginia, on that JDP back gas. We'll take that whole shot and early lead as we take a look now at the four-stroke A-lights. 10 seconds. Colton Shields, Van Adams, Rivers Morris, Chase Landers, Ty Ely, Brady Bierbaum, Lane Smith, Joshua Connor. I got a front row seat for that one. Ryan Amancio, Braden Baisley, Michael Meyer, Isaiah Brown, Jigs Fustini with the whole shot going to the number 65 of Van Adams on that Westfield Power Sports and Fly Racing back ride out of Morgantown, North Carolina. Couple riders with some struggles there in the first turn and second turn, all three off and rolling. 150A ready to roll. Oh, more issues. Here we go. 10 seconds. 150A. David Johnson, Wade Tucker, Tucker Kenry, Colton Noltkamper, Braden Hashman, and Kiefer Galliano. Believe that's Kiefer Galliano out in front. Yes, ma'am, it is. The 999 out of Weston, West Virginia on that Morgantown Power Sports and Reliable Oil Services back ride. Grabbing that whole shot and early lead as we turn our attention now. 10 seconds. Junior A, 25 plus. Andrew Boggs, Braden Moore, Isaac Prunty, Mario Tonchev, Russell Smith, Evan Maynard, Brad Harrington, Matthew Dreyer, Wyatt Ford, Joshua Chalk, Aaron Higgins, and Corey Jordan. And grabbing the whole shot's going to be the 255. Russell Smith out of West Mifflin, Pennsylvania on that Tri-State Power Sports back ride. Vet A, 30 plus. 10 seconds. Scott Hopper, Danny Hoff, Daniel Sims, Jesse Kildo, and Gregory Funk. You know what we say, who's got the funk? Gregory's got the funk. 683 out in front. That is Gregory Funk leading the way. And hangs on for a whole shot. And early lead in this one, slip sliding around turn number 2. Senior A, 40 plus. Ready to roll. 10 seconds. Joe Marsh, Frank Messina, Cody Hosta, Jared Altman, and Darren Damos. A little bit different strategies here. Riders on the outside going to pay dividends for them. 51 out in front, challenged by the number 70 on the helmet. It's going to be the 051. That is Joe Marsh out of Indianola, Pennsylvania on that Sunstar and Moose Racing back ride. Here we go. 10 seconds. 250B, Devin Moore, Ethan Harwell, Ty Atkinson, Briar Menace, Colt Noltkamper, and Logan Pellegrini. 557 on the outside. Finds a traction. That's 910. That is Logan Pellegrini out of Pennsylvania on that PR2 suspension back KTM. 10 seconds. Open B, Nate Garrison, Chris Gates, Robert Hamrick, Clayton Pratt, Andrew Meyer, Colton Cebulski, Caleb Hagan, Colton Painter, Wyatt Fisher, and Hayden Jones. Oh, going real wide right there. Check up from the neck up. And he hangs on. 5:22 of Caleb Hagan out of Tompkinsville, Kentucky. on that factory connection back ride. 4-stroke B lights. 10 seconds. TJ Brown, Landon Workman, Jacob Mitchell, Griffin Coleman, Cody Harding, Jacob McPherson, Wiley Tucker, Bryce Woodrum, and Spencer Knight. Meatball has to check up, back into the 2 spot. Can he get the power to the ground? He's got the inside line, and it will be the 4.94 Meatball on that Beaver Creek cycle and DP brakes. Back ride, that man's a whole shot machine. Meatball gonna have to churn them little legs though today. Here we go, 10 seconds, 150B, Jaden Ferris, Tyler Gilmore, Ryan Guerin, James Simpson, Gavin Hampton, Carson Blackburn, Nico Prasuti, Jarman Lilly, Julian Loy, and Walker Hashman. And grabbing the whole shot is the 4.08 James Simpson. Another whole shot machine right there on that Running Lights Beverage and Directional Tech Solutions back ride. Grabbing that early lead. Off into the woods they go. 10 seconds. Junior B, 25 plus. Briley Stollenbarger, Aaron Szymanski, Andrew Tinker, Devin Hall, Zach Cummins, Ryan Bierman, Douglas Randolph, Garrett Michaels, and Billy Saliga. Coming at you, grabbing a whole shot 4.13. That is Devin Hall out of Huntington, West Virginia, on the Maynard Racing Performance Back Gas. Grabbing that early lead. Vet B, 30 plus. 10 seconds. Michael Jarosco, Judson Bogus, Pete Petrunti, Dylan Gantz, Billy West, Corey Armstrong, and Ricky Stanley. Around the first, oh no, it goes down. Had a good drive out in front, picking that machine up now, and it is going to go to the 3.71. Pete Petrunti out of Middletown, Connecticut, getting it done early, and here we go with a senior B, 40 plus. 10 seconds. Larry Hopper, Fernando Pino, Mislino Batista, Adam Nostick, Brendan Hagan, and Aaron McAfee. All right, looks like that end of the starting line is clear as our riders jockey for position through the first turn. Slicker than a mayonnaise sandwich, but it's going to go to the 8.01. Aaron McAfee out of Harrisonburg, Virginia, on that Team McAfee and Wayne Cycles back gas, grabbing the whole shot and the early lead. How about it? Evan Smith grabbing an early whole shot. How is it all going to sort out in the XC1? Will we crown a champion in the XC2 class here today? We'll take a short break, get in a word from our sponsors, and be back with more from the Wiseco John Penton GNCC.
You know, when I take the bike out like this, all my stresses just melt away.
I hear that. This bad boy can fix anything.
Yep, tough day at work. Nice cruiser sorts you right out.
When I'm riding, I'm not even thinking about my painful cavity.
Oh, you shouldn't ignore that.
And every time I get stressed about having to pay my bills, I just hop on the bike, man.
Oh, come on, man. You got to pay your bills.
You don't have to worry about anything when you're protected by America's #1 motorcycle insurer.
Well, you definitely do. Those things aren't related, so...
Ah, yee! Oh, that is a vibrating pain.
Every generation believes they've invented the best way. With age comes wisdom. We've come to realize that every piece of knowledge is learned, passed down from those generous and patient enough to teach.
Logging off the bottom. Let's take a look.
Legacy. It's not about leaving something behind to be remembered by. It's realizing that the future lies within the next generation.
Let's call tonight. All right.
The nature of true progress is humbly building something bigger than yourself. Rocky Mountain ATV MC. This is our legacy.
Whatever you drive, however you drive. AMSOIL specially engineers lubricants to maximize power, performance, and protection in your vehicles, so you can work hard and play hard with confidence. Order online at amsoil.com.
Progressive GNCC Racing is brought to you by Progressive. Progressive could save you hundreds of dollars on your automobile and motorcycle insurance. Specialized E-Turbo bicycles. It's you, only faster. RockyMountainATVMC.com. Get ready.
Hello, everyone out there on Racer TV, and welcome back to the 2024 Wiseco John Penton GNCC. We're here in beautiful Millfield, Ohio for round number 12 of the Grand National Cross Country Series. My name is Jackson Burrow, and I'm going to be alongside Zach Heron and Johnny G to bring you today's action. Zach, it is good to be back here in Ohio.
Man, absolutely fantastic weekend of racing so far. Mother Nature's thrown her name in the hat as well. We've had all kinds of surprises. We've had some championship celebrations earlier today as well. And like you said, 3 hours of high-flying GNCC racing action in store for us. Let's show you how things got kicked off with our specialized race recap as we're watching some of our other riders making their way around. And as you saw, not too bad looking out there on the course as we take a look at how things got kicked off with our specialized race, or start recap, I should say, with our XC1 Open Pro to start. Not the jump that Stu Baylor was hoping for, but look at this, the battle into turn one. Everybody trying to funnel into that inside. Getting the power to the ground is the 347 of Evan Smith, but watch this, folks. We talked about slipping and sliding. Whoa, hang on to it. Evan going down in turn two. That was going to hand the lead over to the 282 of Mike Wachowski. Josh Strang getting cut off by, I believe that was Liam Draper in the second place position. Strang in that third place spot headed into the woods. Now we drop down to the XC2 250 Pro. Welcome to the XC2 class to T-Rex. Nick DeFeo, we've been talking about him running up inside that top 10, was leading him into turn one, but it was going to be the 981 with a little look over the shoulder. Jonathan Johnson going to grab the whole shot, but look at this, DeFeo saying, hang on, I want to not only be in this XC2 class, I want to be in the mix as well. But he's got some good company with Grant Davis right behind him. Gus Reardon in the mix as well. I believe that was Jesse Ansley, or maybe even Thad Duvall just behind him. Then we drop down to the FMF XC3 125 Pro-Am class. And look at this, not even a competition. The 217 of Tyler Shields leads them in. But how about Dirt Bike Jesus coming from the outside, slides up the inside, and is going to be second across the stripe, battling it out with Jack Walker. Jack would get the best of him here in turn two. But look at that. I mean, we're going to hear a lot of slideways throughout the day today, Jackson. People trying to get traction. Throttle control going to be key, and for those 125s, it's definitely going to be tough. But that is how things got started with your specialized start recap. Now we flash forward to the first look at your leaders. That is the 282 of Mike Wachowski. There is Liam Draper. Looks like one of the KTM boys possibly jumping in there into the third place spot. We're going to welcome Johnny G into the booth. Eagle Eye, what are you seeing?
That was actually Josh Strang on the beta. I don't know that it's a factory beta, but nonetheless, the beta machine there in the number 3 spot. We saw him sneak around the outside of Evan Smith when Evan Smith hit the deck there in the first turn after getting the whole shot and promptly, unfortunately, tasting this very, very slick Ohio clay. We're going to jump out here a little further in. This may actually be our John Penton section that we're looking at. We'll have to confirm with OPAG, our producer Adam Gordon, and it looks like we are seeing some of our lead riders on screen. Looks like Wachowski may have given up the lead. I think that is Draper out front now, who's taken over the point position, and then looks like Witkowski then behind him there. Some riders struggling through. Hard to tell.
Like maybe a Kawasaki there. Couldn't quite tell.
Could be Snodgrass, could be Stu Baylor. They were both kind of up there towards the front. A little bit hard to tell from this particular camera shot.
Possibly Jordan Ashburn there.
Looked like Ashburn was a little bit further back, but that is one rider I really think we need to keep our eyes on today. Jordan is, we've talked about it in the pre-race show. We've talked about it so many times. Jordan likes the mud. But we say that. Jordan won 2 weeks ago in possibly the driest, dustiest racetrack we have had in quite some time here in GNCC racing. So for him to prove... I made the point during the broadcast and in the pre-race show, Jordan likes the inclement conditions. On a normal racetrack, everybody can kind of, when I say everybody, these top guys all kind of can go fast. Jordan is a rider that really excels when the conditions get tough. He's a rider we've seen compete in the TKO, the Tennessee Knockout Enduro. He's got very, very good technical bike skills. He can find grip and has great throttle control where some of the other riders will slip, and that could be a skill that comes in very handy today. Folks, we talked about it on the broadcast yesterday. Conditions, absolutely epic yesterday after all the rain we had. Was kind of expecting more of the same today, but then things kind of made a little shift overnight. We got a little more rain. It was raining throughout our morning races this morning, and it has been very slick. Sections of this track will be great. Sections of it, not so much, but I think we actually did, prior to today's race, have a chance to catch up with your last race winner, Jordan Ashburn, to get his thoughts on that win and coming into today.
John Penton, I would say on the whole circuit, I like snowshoe. I like the Boy Scout race. John Penton's probably my favorite just because of the Penton section. And, I've always liked that race, and it's, to me, like a character of old school GNCC. It's tighter, it's twisty, there's a couple field sections, here and there, but it's still, you're never there's not just straight lines in the woods everywhere. You're always twisting, turning up, down, everywhere. So I love that race, and I've had a lot of podiums there and had a couple wins at that property, and that's a place I look forward to going back to this year, and I think it'll be a great race. The Penton section is last year was really technical. I know some guys didn't like it. I think it was gnarly. It was really gnarly last year, and it was super muddy again. We've had so many mud races last year, and yeah, this year I hope we can see kind of some of the same out of it, and have a good track and a good race, and go from there. Yeah, it seems like the past few years since we've been there, it's not been dry. It's always been kind of wet, and it's so slippery there as well. And the Penton section I've seen it rut up unbelievably, just be ruts everywhere, and the track's known to do that as well. And I love that place. It's a cool event and cool venue, and a long time running venue of the series.
So there you got to hear Jordan Ashburn talking about it. And Zach, if you'll think back in 2023, he was the winner here at this track. So he is, just like he was saying, he is very familiar here with this John Penton course.
Yeah, more than capable of getting the job done here this weekend. And to Johnny's point, like we said, it's when the going gets tough, that's when Jordan really starts to get going, whether it's the dusty, drier stuff or whether it's the kind of conditions that we're seeing today. And so very excited to see where the number 3 is going to wind up. Didn't quite get the start that I'm sure he was hoping for. Loved to be inside that top 3 to 5, but it's going to make it that much more exciting to try to watch him pick his way through the pack as we lose sight of him there just for a minute in that Yamaha Racing live drone. And I'm going to try to pick back up and give you a full running order, at least of that XC1 class. This is a little bit of a flashback to that John Penton section.
And it is. It looked to be the 198 of Liam Draper out front, followed by the 282 of Mike Witkowski. You see Draper taking a look over his shoulder. Can't tell. You guys can see color much better than I can, me being colorblind, but I think that may be Lyndon Snodgrass there in the number 3 spot. Does that look to be a green machine to you, or could it be, we know the beta of Josh Strang was up there. That is definitely Jordan Ashburn there in the number 4 spot for sure. Zach Aaron, you nailed that one. And then we do see Stu Baylor there a little further back, so it was definitely not him in the number 3 spot. But these guys all pretty close together, and the cool thing, that's actually dry dirt you see kicking up there. So again, it speaks volumes to how much this Penton racetrack changes from one section to the next as it rains, as it starts to dry out. We had near perfect condition, perfect grip yesterday out on the track. And now today, there are certain sections where it's going to be absolutely just like ice. We saw it in the morning race. We saw it in the youth race this morning as well. It's like, guys, just, for skiing, feet out, sliding their feet along the track, just guys and gals trying to stay upright. Very tough conditions. And then they get out here into this grass track. I mean, this is mint. Like, this is like a prepped, grass track section, something you would see in a special test in like a 6 days format or something like that, or a sprint enduro. So great conditions out here, but it's going to take somebody that can adapt to all those different conditions, different amounts of grip, and really keep themselves driving forward throughout the day to be up there fighting for the win.
Yeah, to your point, you talk about putting the feet out and slipping and sliding. I was walking around kind of near the finish line for that WXC race, and there was the rut for the tires, and then you could actually see little ruts developing from where everybody's kind of leaving, almost flat track style, leaving the boot on the ground and using it to kind of counterbalance. And to your point, yeah, you've got to be able to adapt to a little bit of everything. This is untouched soil as well, so a lot of the other track obviously being packed down by the quads yesterday. However, this Penton section probably going to be able to rip it up just a little bit more. We talked about how dry it has been leading up to this event, but the moisture's had an opportunity to soak into the soil, really going to allow these bikes to chew it up and maybe start to rut up as the race wears on.
Yeah, I think we'll definitely see some ruts out here in this grass track section of the John Penton section. Jordan Ashburn talking about this track, how it does rut up. What's interesting is this Ohio clay is so dynamic. Depending upon what it's like leading up to it, it's been so dry, so dusty, so hard packed that it's hard for these guys to even get a rut going. But as you pointed out, this section here, much softer soil. So again, it's that whole dichotomy of part of the track is going to be hard packed slick. Some of it's going to be perfect. Some of it's going to get rut up and deep. We don't have, unfortunately, what's hard to see from here, this Yamaha Racing Live drone shows us this Penton section. It's a couple miles from here. It's pretty far out there, so we're not able to get any static cameras in there to show. But because it is untouched dirt, it's going to dig out more. It's, as you pointed out, not packed in from the quads. A lot of questions before this race. Hey, with the amount of rain we've had in the last couple of days, will the John Penton section hold up through the entirety of this 3-hour afternoon race? Again, no, this has not been ridden since last year in this PM bike race. None of the previous 5 races throughout the weekend have ventured into this part of the racetrack, so it'll be interesting to see how it develops. Another thing I wanted to throw out there quickly, we talk about momentum, we talk about home track advantage, we talk about guys that, Jordan Ashburn coming out and saying this is his favorite track. Interestingly enough, this is where he clinched his championship in 2022 with a win. So winning here last year, winning the last race. You want to talk about momentum? You want to talk about a guy that's got a lot of mojo on his side? You got to believe Jordan Ashburn's at the top of that list.
Yeah, without a doubt. As we take a look at our Yamaha Racing track map, now this does not actually include the Penton section in it, so if you're looking for that on your screen, you're not going to find it here. But like we talked about, and Jordan even said, it seems like you're always twisting and turning, not really any straight shots anywhere on this course. A lot of tight sections as well. We saw several opportunities yesterday where riders could take some different lines, show a wheel to the inside and to the outside, so there's a lot of options. Obviously, we saw some good racing yesterday. Walker Fowler even said, man, we had some great passing opportunities, but it's going to be fantastic to watch what these bikes are doing.
So the yellow line that you're seeing on your screen, that is going to be the Penton section. That is how much extra track these riders are going to have to ride on. A very detailed map there from OPAG. We appreciate it, Adam.
Yeah, absolutely, giving you a look at exactly where that Penton section's at compared to the rest of the course. And to your point, Johnny, it's way out there. And so not surprised to not see the mud fleas lining around this course. They're probably, if they are heading out there, not even quite halfway yet walking.
No, and that is a very unique thing about this John Penton section. Like, we'll have a PM-only section on a lot of track, but it's, it might be anywhere between a quarter mile, up to maybe a mile or so. This John Penton section is huge. It's several miles of racetrack, and it's only used this one time each year when we race here for the John Penton. Interesting note, we call this is our Penton GNCC. John Penton, actually a lot of his family here this weekend. He actually, for the first time in a few years, just due to the conditions and also his age, was not able to join us. But for the folks watching at home, John Penton, a true motorcycle pioneer, really brought off-road motorcycling to the United States through back then, which was called the ISDE, seeing that over in Europe, seeing that they were basically taking what today we would call dual sport motorcycles, which if you look at them, you see those old pictures, you see those videos, they look more like street bikes, honestly, and they were trying to figure out a way to get a little more grip out of them, and they were racing them kind of in what you would see here, fields, and then guys like John Penton said, let's take this one step further, let's put these things in the woods, let's go through some mud holes. So a true motorcycling pioneer and a big part of the history of motorcycling, not only in the United States but globally, and this event bears his namesake, being that he is from Ohio, very near here, just up in Amherst. And a lot of folks at home watching, we call these things, we have the buckwheat and we have all these different names. The Penton, very unique. Much like the Ironman coming up, there's a big story behind the name and gentlemen that have contributed a lot to our sport.
I believe that there's even a book. Is that correct, Johnny?
There's actually a movie. Yep, there is a book as well, but you can search it anywhere online. It's called the John Penton Story, and it is a documentary released in 2014, talking about his story, how his passion for motorcycling and his passion for off-road, and how he brought so many products, so many innovations to the sport. He's just been a huge part of the history of our sport.
Yeah, very cool. John Penton, very deserving of the name and very thankful for all he's done for motorcycling.
I actually had the opportunity back in 2014 to go see the very first premiere of the John Penton movie. It was held in Cleveland, Ohio. A big group of us that have been, I grew up racing GNCC. I knew, looks like we got some riders popping through. I knew a little bit of that may be. I think
that's one of our riders, yeah.
Sweep rider, maybe?
Yeah, that might be a sweep rider because he is not on the racetrack itself. But, yeah, John Penton, that movie, great movie. For me, it was chills. Here we see some riders on screen, and looks like it is still the 198 of Liam Draper out front. Pushing the pace, and now he has opened it up over the 282 of Witkowski. It looks to be Draper. It is. Yeah, so Liam Draper out front, and look at the lead that he has opened up over the Phoenix Racing Honda of Mike Witkowski. We talked about how much better could Liam Draper do than what he had done the first two rounds. Second place, literally finishing on the rear tire of the leader. Well, today he's saying, hey, guys, hold my drink bottle. I got something more to show you. He is pulling away out front as they run now. Still a ton of racing left, but nonetheless a very impressive lap one for Liam Draper and that Ampro Yamaha.
Yeah, that XC1 debut was a third. Following race is a second. I said, hey, Liam.
No, well, there's only 2-2 in XC1.
Correct. 2-2 in XC1. Yes, you're right. Overall. But overall, and I said, there's only one spot left. He got a big smile on the face, and he's trying to do just that right now. And got a great look at the three-rider battle for the second place position.
That is Jordan Ashburn there in fourth. Still trying to figure out if that is Lyndon Snodgrass. Riding style tells me it's Snodgrass. They're in the number 3 spot, and second is definitely the 282 of Mike Witkowski. So on screen, second, third, and fourth place as they run in the XC1 and overall. And Jordan Ashburn really looking racy back there in the number 4 spot. He's trying to square up Snodgrass. He got next to him, but was not able to make the pass stick, fellas.
And this is not going to be a course where I feel like you can really square off these corners. You almost kind of have to flow with it. You saw the back end start to kick out. Oh, see, just like that, he almost had it done. As we zoom in on this battle, and Witkowski trying to sneak away while these two do battle right now. Great ride from Snodgrass, defensively protecting those insides.
Yeah, and he's trying to put pressure on Witkowski, but, man, he just has all kinds of pressure from behind from the number 3 of Jordan Ashburn. Now look at this. Now it's Snodgrass going on the offensive, and he's really putting pressure on Witkowski. But Ashburn tries to sneak around the outside. Guys, how awesome is this racing action we get to see from our Yamaha Racing Live drone? It's like we're out there right in the mix of the battle.
Man, wheel to wheel to wheel, the battle is on. This is going to be fun to watch for sure. The intensity from Jordan Ashburn early, very impressive. But right now, Mike Witkowski with a little look over his shoulder, hanging on to that second place spot, trying to chase down Liam Draper. And we were able to chase down Mike Witkowski before today's race and talk to him about the John Penton GNCC.
Yeah, racing John Penton in the fall this year is going to be different. But when we did one of the Penton rounds, or Ohio rounds last year in the fall, or previous year, it was actually one of my favorite, and I think I did the best result there. So I'm excited to go back in the fall, just something different. We're used to, in the summer, and there's nothing better racing than riding in the fall. Yeah, the Penton section, usually they make it pretty technical for us. Obviously, back in the Penton days, it was very technical and tough. And obviously single track, so we have like 2-3 miles or even more of single track. Obviously added on to our original track, but it's usually a good add-on, makes it fun, something different, not wide open. It's definitely got to make sure you hit your marks there, and yeah, if you make a mistake, it's going to cost you for sure. Yeah, the Penton soil can go either way. It can be, dry, like hard slick, something like you would see at Mason-Dixon, or you can go the other way where it's very, very slick, and if it rains, it's a miserable day. Just the terrain's very up and down, hilly, and then adding in the Penton section makes it challenging when it does rain, because it gets very rutted. Last year it rained for us, and made the Penton section very, very tough. So it's kind of a make or break on the weather there and how the course shapes up.
So great to hear from Mike there. And, I mean, this entire 2024 season has kind of been a statement season, I feel like, for Mike. And he's kind of a quiet guy, but I feel like just even the way he's walking around, that confidence is starting to show. And even in his riding style, the aggressiveness, it continues to show that he's feeling good. So we are going to get ready to get a word from our sponsors. We're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we will continue the Wiseco John Penton GNCC. Here's how things got started. Look at that. We've got slideways action all over the place. Jordan Ashburn trying to make moves quickly, working against Lyndon Snodgrass, chasing down Mike Wachowski, and out front we believe it's Liam Draper on the Ampro Yamaha leading the way. We'll get a word from our sponsors, and we'll be back with the Wiseco John Penton GNCC.
Unleash aggression, reliability, and premium quality with Kenda tires, delivering exceptional performance on all types of vehicles: automotive, ATVs, UTVs, motorcycles, bicycles, trailers, lawn and garden, and even golf. Trust Kenda tires to guide you on your next adventure. Kenda, designed for your journey.
Born of family values and a homegrown work ethic, Cometic Gasket seals your machine so you can focus on the finish line. Cometic Gaskets are the competitive standard for racers who demand the very best inside their engine. Cometic Gaskets are always constructed from superior materials designed to perform in the most demanding environments. Whether it's a championship on the line or a day in the dirt with friends, professionals and enthusiasts alike depend on Cometic. Cometic Gasket, sealing championships since 1989.
On Track School is an online private school catering to some of the top athletes in the world. We offer a flexible schedule for students that are chasing their dreams and always on the go. We are an accredited K-12 school where students can graduate with a diploma. Scan the QR code or call us to book an appointment with one of our learning coaches to discuss your students' next steps.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Wiseco John Penton GNCC, taking a look at mile marker number 9, the Monster Mile. All's calm right now, but we saw plenty of chaos here yesterday, expecting more of the same today, and the fans starting to make their way down because they're ready to lend a hand whenever they need to, as are they always, the GNCC Mud Fleas. But here in the Racer TV studio, Zach Herron alongside our reigning champ, Craig DeLong and Johnny G. Craig, this is not where we want to see you, man. We're glad to have you in the booth, but we want to see you out on the track. Take us through what happened. We saw you went down, weren't able to finish that last race, and looking a little banged up. Take us through what happened.
Yeah, so I had a good start there first lap and found myself in third and was in the dust. And, man, I don't really remember what happened, but I know that I hit a tree pretty hard with my left hand and ended up breaking my fifth metacarpal. So a boxer's fracture, I guess, if anybody's familiar with that. So I had surgery about a week and a half ago and yeah, we're on the mend and hopefully riding by next week.
Wow, that's a quick return. I know you had sent me a picture last week, and thankfully, the picture that you posted, it's all wrapped up, because when it was when you could actually see the hand, it kind of looks a little bit like a monster hand there. Very swollen, but the fact that you'd be back on the bike, potentially here in the next couple weeks, I mean, really kind of bodes well for you for next year. I believe another year with Rockstar Husqvarna next year, and same plan coming into 2025?
Absolutely. I'm with Husky for another 2 years, so that's awesome. I don't have to, do any changes for the next couple years, and so I mean, it was pretty mangled. I was all swollen, and my hand, I couldn't really move it so much. So, but we're doing good now, and I can make a fist now, and I just gripped the handlebar the other day, so I'm getting ready.
We're making progress. I love to see it. Well, let's talk about this John Penton GNCC. We talked about it. The Penton section looked fantastic. So. And we're actually getting an update. Craig actually said this to us when he walked into the truck. It is Ricky Russell leading the way on that Ampro Yamaha. We weren't totally sure who was leading. And taking a look now, there is Lyndon Snodgrass. So it is the 2-1-2 of Rough and Rowdy Ricky Russell leading the way. And here comes the rest of the field. And, man, what a gap Ricky had opened up. We were giving Liam all the praise. No offense, Liam. But, man, got to give Ricky some credit where credit's due.
Yeah, this place is, especially with the conditions today, if you can get out front and get out of sight, man, it makes it really easy to kind of pull away and just ride easy laps. So I'm sure obviously that's what Ricky's trying to do, and just set himself out front.
Well, that makes a lot of sense, because the intensity we saw from Jordan Ashburn, too, he was like, I've got to get to this guy right now. And they were actually passing each other in the Penton section. So Jordan could see, hey, he's getting away early on this. So got to expect Ashburn going to try to pick up the pace, as does Wachowski and Snodgrass as well. Did not see Wachowski on that as the riders were coming by. Might have missed him, but possibly a change there for the second place position as well. But we talk about the shiny soil that you're kind of seeing on the bottom. You're locking the brakes up. You're not stopping at all. It's pretty much just kind of chaos out there.
Absolutely. This place is, even when it's dry, it's slick, but it's like a controlled push, if that's what I want to say. You can push hard, but you can't push past that limit. And obviously, Ricky's doing a good job of it, and just riding his own pace, race, and obviously it's working out for him.
Ricky Russell, another one of the guys, I was asked many times coming in today, like, hey, the conditions, who do you think is going to do well? First off, when you ask that question in today's day and age when it comes to GNCC racing, I mean, you really have to throw so many names into the hat for any day, let alone a day like today. I mean, there's so many guys that have great technical ability on the motorcycle, so many guys that, have great throttle control. Some just kind of stand out above the rest. Craig, not because you're standing here, I feel like you're one of those riders that is able to find that grip. How much of that, Ricky's from Washington State, grew up riding essentially in a rainforest up there, and always has done well in snowshoe. And he says, hey, man, like, there's not a lot of grip where I'm growing up riding. Tell us a little bit about, you coming up and how you kind of learn that throttle control and where to find grip. Do you think a lot of it just comes from the local races you did where you practice, and what are you think are the common factors there?
This place is like no other. Even like growing up, I'm from the eastern side of Pennsylvania, so we have a little bit different dirt than here. And I honestly had to kind of learn to race this place. I struggled here early on, and it takes a couple years to get used to the slickness and where you can go and where you can't. And I mean, I'm really bummed I'm missing today. I've loved this place, and I enjoy the slick stuff. It takes years of practice, and it looks good.
Well, another one that is very similar to this, you say it's like no other, and that is true, but remember, this year we returned to the Powerline GNCC, which is the closest thing you will find to the Penton in terms of the dirt, the slickness, and you put in a pretty good push there at the end of that one, very nearly clipping one of your training buddies, Johnny Girard, right at the finish line. You guys were pretty much wheel to wheel, so, typically, to be honest, I wouldn't say that Johnny would be a guy that would right at the top of my. Obviously, he's our current champion, as of a week ago or 2 weeks ago, and we know he can ride well in all conditions. But I mean, he really showed just how much he's evolved as a rider. A lot of people consider him kind of a hang it out guy, but he was so precise there. I guess a few months ago now. That's been back at Powerline. So, and we did see he and Ben Kelly kind of running in formation there. One thing I did want to point out, guys, we know this has been happening a lot lately. I couldn't tell as they went flashing by. It was one of the two Landers KTMs was way up in the XC1 class already, starting from that second row. Was it Gus Reardon? Was it Grant Davis? We don't know, but they'll be checking in and scoring here in just a few miles. Another thing worth pointing out, the mile markers on screen do not include the Penton section, so they are much further into the track itself than what it's actually showing. So that's why these lap times are going to be so much longer today. You can see that pit board there from the Red Bear Rocky Mountain ATV MC Kawasaki team waiting on the leaders, and here comes the 212 of Ricky Russell up onto that very slick moon rock section we talked about yesterday here in the Monster Mile. And the pit board for Lyndon Snodgrass, I'm assuming that was, said minus 23, but that is not 23 seconds. Wow. These guys have made up a bunch of time somewhere between the 8 and 9 mile marker. I believe that was Liam Draper there now in the third spot. Then it was Stu Baylor in fourth. Oh. Baylor goes down, and now it's Jordan Ashburn that is going to work his way up into the number 4 spot. Mike Witkowski trying to get around Baylor, but Baylor able to get up and going. And again, this section was a pivotal section of racetrack yesterday, and we think that it likely will be again today. There's Evan Smith, Johnny Gerard, Ben Kelly, and that is Grant Davis, as Craig pointed out. So there's Josh Strang. Grant Davis well up into the mix already in XC1. This kid is just on fire right now.
Man, he is rolling for sure, and that is a bad spot to fall for Stu Baylor. Handlebar went right down into the water as we see Cody Barnes on that Phoenix Honda. So immediately, grip is going to be terrible no matter what. The gloves are going to be wet. The grips are going to be wet. Got to give a shout out. Our man Zach Osborne actually messaged me. He said, "Hey boys, that's Ricky out front. Just letting you know, him and Liam both doing that torque training program with Zach, and so great to have Zach watching." There is Gus Reardon just in front of Rui Barbosa,
taking out the monster can.
Yeah.
And I was, this is always, even when I was back in XC2, the Penton section is a good way for these guys to catch up at XC1. And I'm not surprised that Grant is all the way up into the back of them. And, yeah, I honestly figured he would be farther up into the XC1 pack, to be honest with you. But obviously he's got some bigger things on his mind today. And, yeah, I think that's probably weighing on him.
Yeah, I actually talked to his dad on the starting line for the morning race when they were getting ready to pick out their spots, and he said, hey, we've been trying to tell Grant, like, the focus today, and there is Grant on cue, on screen, the focus today is the championship. Not really worried about, shouldn't be worried about winning the race, shouldn't be worried about his overall. And I just looked at Bill Davis, Grant's dad, and I said, you might as well turn and talk to this, this track stake right here, because you're going to get the same response. He said, actually, I was thinking I should just talk to thin air, because sometimes when I talk to the kid, I feel like I'm talking to thin air. But that just shows the race mode. Like, he's out there, wants to race. Hopefully at some point the magnitude of what's on the line will kind of pop in for him and for him. But if you're a Gus Reardon fan and there is Gus on screen, you're thinking, hey, if Grant wants to make a mistake, that's fine. We want our guy to get up there and chip away at this points lead. It would take a lot at this point. 54 points, I believe, is the difference, with only 60 points remaining, including today. So Grant just needing to score 6 points was all it would take to lock that up, I believe, if my math is correct. That we were looking at it earlier today, and it's definitely still not, you can't give away these championships until the races are over, but Gus Reardon really needing to get to the front to take that point position away from Grant, get the max 30 points, and then see how it pans out from there. That's the best, his best plan for the day for sure.
And that's kind of what we heard from Bryson Neal yesterday as well. He said, hey, I know I'm in the points lead right now, but I don't want to just try to win the title by playing it safe. I want to go out and grab a win. Oh, one of the riders going down.
Lyndon, I think.
Yeah, that was our second place rider. Looked like, as Craig pointed out, Lyndon Snodgrass hitting the deck.
Liam's second now.
Liam now up to second, so now he's tracked down his teammate.
All right.
Now we've got 2 Ampro Yamahas out front, it looks like. Then it's Jordan Ashburn now up into third, and here they are on screen. Ricky Russell out front on the 212. Ampro Yamaha standing up. Great form, Ricky. Oh, another one of those riders, so as feet come flying off, announcer's curse. There's Liam struggling a little bit for some grip around the outside, but Ricky almost has that Trials-esque riding style, Craig. He just is able to kind of put the pressure into the pegs and transfer that into Stu, bulldogging around the outside. We saw Walker Fowler take that line at the end of the race yesterday and lose quite a bit of time, but it is so slick right now. These guys are just kind of mixing it up, figuring out where they can find grip.
Yeah, this hill, it's no matter every year, it's the slickest part of the track. The camera does no justice.
Taking a look now as your leader makes his way down. And what I'm seeing right now out of Ricky Russell is a lot of patience. Even in that monster mile, it looked like, man, he's going really, really slow, but he was staying planted. He wasn't spinning out as we saw Stu Baylor, maybe just a little hot on the throttle. Next thing you know, you find yourself on the ground. So patience going to be key out here all race long. And even where Linda Snodgrass went down, just a little too heavy on the acceleration, and that back end will step out in a hurry.
Well, watching that XC1 hole shot, we saw Evan Smith grab the hole shot, and then very soon after, there he is laying on the ground. There's Grant Davis chasing after, Evan Smith, and then there is the 969, Johnny Gerard. Then it's the 7 of Josh Strang on that beta. So all these guys, again, very close in formation. Then it's the second-place rider in XC2, so Cody Barnes really keeping it close, a rider who, I don't know if it's been announced yet, but I believe it's actually, Craig, we can speak to that here in a little bit. Due to your injury, you will not be attending the ISDE in Spain, leaving out this Friday. Cody Barnes is going to sub in, so, he's definitely wanting to get some momentum going here today and carry that over to represent his country in Spain here coming up in the next 2 weeks.
Absolutely, and I was obviously looking forward to going and racing over there, and Gus getting a little off track there, but obviously Cody is the next best guy racing the sprints this year, and he's been battling Johnny, Liam, and I, so yeah, they still have a great team to go over there and I think battle for the win, so yeah, hopefully it all works out for him.
And Cody Barnes, as of these last few races, has really started to come into his own, putting himself between those two Landers KTM riders a few times and constantly finding himself up inside the top 5 and the top 3 as well. So definitely, I think a wise choice as far as the team goes. Obviously, bummed out that it's not going to be you, but nonetheless, a very strong team that we're sending to Spain here shortly.
Absolutely.
Folks, if you're watching at home, as the leaders check in, big point of note here as Mikey Waynes almost takes a dive out of the back of the Racer TV studio. 48-minute lap time. Again, we were talking about this. The track is very, very long with that John Penton section. It's hard to really explain, but folks, if you're an avid GNCC viewer and you follow along with all these races, we're usually kind of right in that 30-minute lap time range. Sometimes it's 28, sometimes it's 32, but it's give or take, a couple minutes either way. 48 minutes and 2 seconds for our race leader, Ricky Russell. Man, it's going to be an interesting, not a lot of laps today, but they're still going to cover a lot of ground.
Hey, without a doubt. And speaking of Ricky Russell, he's out front leading the way, and we were able to catch up with him and talk to him about his opinion on the John Penton.
Yeah, John Penton's, I got a love-hate relationship with John Penton. It's kind of, it's always, we're kind of in a hole there, and it's always really hot, humid, usually, and I don't know. We've had mix of conditions. We've been going there every single year since I've been racing, and I think many years before I came. And some years they add like the Penton section, which is iconic, and they make it very hard for us. Last year was hard. There was actually like some sections there was hill climb options, and some of the hill climbs the pros were going around. So it was unique. It just kind of depends on how they lay it out. You can. They can lay it out really gnarly or lay it out kind of more friendly to the riders. And last year was gnarly. Yeah, that's that Ohio clay, and just kind of like Powerline, you got that Ohio clay, and it's yeah, it can be really good or it can be ice. And I think last year we had. Well, for a couple years we were going there 2 times a year, so I kind of would mix them up. But we had multiple. One year we had an ice round where it was just muddy and slicker than snot, and then the next round we went back there. It was perfect. So yeah, it's kind of just depends. If it does rain there, that place is slick.
So there it is from the 2-1-2. Johnny over here looking at timing and scoring. We've got some big news as far as the top 3 goes.
Yeah, absolutely. And as we went away to that interview, Craig DeLong pointed out, he said, hey, that you haven't refreshed it or it hasn't refreshed. Guarantee Grant Davis is your overall leader just by looking on screen how close he is. Craig, you were correct. And second place overall, Cody Barnes. Those guys with a 47.31 to our XC1 leader of a 48.02. So 31 seconds faster was their lap time there on lap number 1. But hold the presses, hold the phone, folks. We've got an XC3 rider in that third place overall position, Jack Walker, with a lap time of 47.43. So actually only 1 second behind Cody Barnes on corrected time for that second place overall position. What a ride on lap 1 here for Jack Walker. Make some noise, folks. If you're lining the John Penton Racetrack out there. When you hear that little wing ding, sounds like a weed whacker coming down the track. That's Jack Walker, and he is running in the 3rd place overall spot.
Well, I tell you what, I'm impressed, but I'm not surprised. We could see the fight from Jack Walker immediately from turn 2, battling it out with Dirt Bike Jesus Dustin Simpson, and they didn't even grab the whole shot in the XC3 class. So Walker trying to walk his way up into the overall picture right now. Ricky Russell back there in the 4th place spot with Jonathan Johnson rounding out the top 5 overall at the moment as we wait on our leaders. Hey, we just heard from Ricky Russell regarding his thoughts on John Penton, but it's all serious in a lot of these interviews. We decided to chat it up with some of these riders and talk to them about a little different stuff regarding if you weren't a top GNCC racer, what do you think you'd be doing? Let's hear what Ricky had to say.
Honestly, I don't know. It's kind of been life since 2013 for me. It's been life. But I'd probably be just at home working a normal job, either construction or something for a relative that owns a business, and just be working on them and riding for when I can for fun. So there's a lot of I do some local racing, but that'd be about it.
And it's always pretty cool to hear. Obviously, these guys, they eat, sleep, and breathe moto. Craig, you can obviously talk to that as well. I mean, once you become at this level, it's a full commitment. It's not just a job, it's a way of life. But always kind of cool to say, hey, if this wasn't what you were doing, what do you think you would be? We'll put you on the spot. If you weren't racing motocross or GNCC, what would you be doing?
Man, I'd probably be working at Chipotle or Subway or maybe Walmart.
No, you wouldn't. You'd be working at your dad's shop.
Don't short me on the double chicken if you're at Chipotle, all right?
Yeah, always actually.
We got to give a shout out. I believe it was OPAG, our producer Adam Gordon, who put these interviews together. And earlier in the year, I don't know if you tuned in, but we're told it was Don Hampton.
Don Hampton, yeah.
Craig, you showed some real personality in yours, not something you normally do.
The eagle.
You're very, you're talking
the
about
eagle,
the eagle. I mean, there were so many funny answers in there. You know, how much of people that don't know you away from the racetrack, do you ever think about, since we got you in here and you're not racing today, let's break down the barriers a little bit. I mean, you're a pretty funny guy. You like to have a good time, but at the races, you take things very seriously. You come off sometimes as hey, I'm just here to do my job. Very professional, but you don't let your personality shine through. As you get into the, little bit later years of your career, do you think we're going to start to see a little more attitude out of Craig DeLong now that we've seen that interview?
I don't know. Maybe it all depends.
Gonna have to wait and see.
He's still guarded.
I want an eagle screech at some point or another. So
you're not getting that.
Come across the finish line, win another championship, and just give us a caw.
Yeah, wings flapping. I love it. We needed a studio shot.
Yeah, we did. Folks, you couldn't see it, but he had the temporary cast on one hand, and he was flapping his arms like an eagle, letting us show that when he comes back next year in 2025, the Eagles. Well, actually, is there a plan to race Ironman, or do we not know?
Yeah, that is the plan as of now. I have a checkup this coming week to see if I can start therapy and carrying some weight with it. So yeah, that kind of depends on that. But that is the plan. I mean, obviously with 6 days coming up and another 2 weeks in between, so or another week. So that is the plan as of now. But
because it's 4 weeks from where we're at to Ironman. So, and you're already 2 weeks into the healing process. So you're 6 weeks when you would line up at Ironman. So it'd be interesting to see if you can make it back. It'd be obviously good to have you back. We're enjoying having you in the booth today. You were the first person, Zacho as well, to pick out. I'll tell you what, guys, 46 years old, the eagle eyes just aren't what they used to be. I did not correctly identify Ricky Russell out front on the 212, and look at this, thing's tightening up. A lot of these guys now has gotten a lot closer. It is still the 212 Ricky Russell out front, but the 198 of Draper, the 3 of Ashburn really starting to put some pressure, and it looks like Liam Draper is going to try to dive down to the inside, but Ricky Russell able to hold the line, and Jordan Ashburn there in 3rd.
Looks like that Snodgrass still just behind them, but yeah, I thought Draper was going to run it up the inside and try to take the lead away, but sounds like everybody got the memo, Craig. They know that you need to try to get away right now. I'm still amazed at how quickly the gap that had been opened up by Ricky Russell, I mean, almost the entirety of the John Penton section disappeared within a couple of camera shots. It just goes to show how quickly a small mistake here, a little bobble there, it can cost you. Next thing you know, you got a full freight train of the XC1 class right behind you.
Yeah, and that's exactly it. I mean, one little mistake. And again, we talked about the diversity of this racetrack. Craig, this is one of those places you weren't in here earlier. Look at this, 4, 5, 6 riders on screen, all battling over the lead. A lot of different conditions that these guys are having to manage on this racetrack. Is that something over the course of 3 hours that you feel maybe takes a little more toll mentally on a track like this versus something where it's kind of one-faceted, where it's just, hey, this track's really fast or this track's really tight? This is one of those ones that has a little bit of everything.
Absolutely. Like where they're at right now is very slick, so they're I don't want to say they're tiptoeing, but they're watching where they can go, and they don't want to get in that middle rut there because that's where all the slop is at. So, where the Penton section is fresh, so I would assume the next time they get through there, it's probably going to be the best part of the track, good traction, because it's been hidden by the leaves and the moisture's, maybe not as wet and muddy as it is in other places. So.
And correct me if I'm wrong, so last year the John Penton section didn't actually make it the full race because of it's starting to deteriorate. It had to be taken out. But today, the condition's not as deep. Again, it's more slick on top. Look at this. Now, Grant Davis has actually mixed his way up physically into the battle with this lead group. So I think we're going to see that gap that he had already opened up starting to open up even a little bit more. There is Josh Strang, a rider we expect to see do very well today. And Cody Barnes, our second place overall rider. Let's keep an eye out for the 719 of Jack Walker. These guys now working their way. You can see this is probably the slickest section of racetrack right here, guys.
Yeah, very slick. And Jeff Russell was here dozing before the race, and actually not here, but in this next turn, he was dozing up. Looked like good dirt. So it's under there. It's just you got to get to it.
Just got to dig into it as well. And now let me ask you, as far as that John Penton section is, obviously it's untouched right now. Do you think that first lap was going to be the best that it was before everybody went through it, or this next lap where you've had some line speed into it, maybe some of that top stuff moved off, where you're going to see the most traction? And taking a look, looks like
getting goggles.
Russell's in. Draper just ditched the goggles, but he didn't stop for new ones. Takes over the lead. Russell, I believe, only losing 2 positions there.
Everybody's missing goggles from what it looks like, which is easy to.
And look at this. Looks like Snodgrass had gotten around.
No, I think that might be Baylor.
No, that's Linden. He don't have goggles. He's trying to get around for track position.
What's it hanging on?
I think it's a neck brace that maybe had come undone on Snodgrass right there.
That's why I thought it was Baylor. It almost looked like a water pack. But you're right, it is Snodgrass. But he's got something hanging around his neck. And he's grabbing at it, trying to.
Maybe I don't know if he uses a waist pack or a backpack, but maybe it's his camelback came unclipped or something.
Here is Nick DeFeo, first race in that XC2 class, was running up in the 4th place spot, right behind Gus Reardon, and Jay Lipscomb actually in the number 5 spot out of Parkersburg, West Virginia, on that factory beta. So Jay Lipscomb, a great ride for him here today, up inside the top 5 in that XC2 class, a local product here from very nearby in Parkersburg, West Virginia. Now back to the lead.
I don't know if this, well, obviously, I was looking at some tires on the starting line, and I noticed Linden had the MX-14, which is like the paddle tire. I know they talk about it all the time at the pro motocross races, but I was surprised to see him have it on there. But some places, like in the Penton section, it's probably really good.
Well, it probably explains when that back end slid out as well, and that real hard pack stuff. That's pretty mind-boggling, but I can't hate on it because the guy's up in second and knocking on the door of leading this XC1 field right now. Seems like Draper's able to stretch it out just a little bit, but this is probably a section where that 14 not going to work as well for him. But yeah, it's always pretty wild to look at the diversity as far as, especially the rear wheel, where guys decide, a trials tire, I believe, has been used several times throughout the season, and then all the way over to the paddle tire, pretty much opposite ends of the tire spectrum. Everybody feels like, hey, if it works for me, let's throw it on there.
Yeah, and I think Liam, he realizes where he's at right now. I think he's going to try and run and hide. I think look for him to probably put in a sprint these next couple miles and get out of sight. And
any thought as far as stopping for goggles at all? If he's got a team, a crew member out there?
Maybe out there, yeah. I can see, if I would do the same thing. If I was second, Ricky was pulling in for goggles, I would have ditched the goggles and kept going too.
Well, and a little bit about that. If you get new goggles and you're in second, you got a rider in front of you that you're trying to follow. You're constantly getting roosted. It's a little different on an ATV. You kind of roost yourself with your front wheels, but on a bike, if there's nobody in front of you other than the leaves that are hanging down, if they're slapping you in the face, which it's not that kind of mud here today. Once they get into lappers, it'll be a different situation. But out front, really not that big of a disadvantage to not have goggles, I wouldn't think.
No, and in a day like today, it's kind of humid, a little bit not warm, but it's a little bit humid, and it's the woods are darker. Probably no goggles isn't a bad thing. If you're out front by yourself, more air to your face, you're keeping cooler and able to breathe better. I don't see why it could be a huge issue.
Yeah, it's working out for him right now, able to hang on to that point position as they're going to cross back over the main road here, head back, and they're going to be headed towards that John Penton section where so many things changed up just a lap ago. We'll see if we put them all in a shaker, shake it up, and see how they come out, but we've got this Yamaha Racing live drone coverage for now, showing us exactly as these guys shake out. So it is still Liam Draper out front in the second place position. It's Lyndon Snodgrass. Fourth place as they run physically on the track is Jordan Ashburn, and then they're just kind of running in formation from their back. But the big news so far, Grant Davis out front, Cody Barnes in second place overall, and Jack Walker from that XC3 class rounding out the top 3 overall in corrected time.
Well, that's a look at the overall picture. Taking a look back here at that XC1 battle, just when you thought it was going to go one way, things shake up as Ricky Russell moves back to that 4th place position. There you see him pulling into the pits. Teammate Liam Draper ditches the goggles, takes the lead from him. Look at the battle. Jordan Ashburn was all over the inside of Lyndon Snodgrass, trying to make the move up the inside. Goggles flying everywhere. Everybody fighting for track position early, as they all know how important it is to be up front and try to run away before things get too chaotic. We're going to get a word from our sponsors, and when we come back, we'll have more racing action from the John Penton GNCC.
We've been there since the very beginning.
20 laps, the main event, the Mud, the Blood, the Beer.
Organizing the industry and building champions. "100 years of defending your rights to ride into the future."
Community, family, teamwork. It's what we have stood on for over a decade. Hauling might be what we do at the surface, but it's much deeper than that. Because what you need matters. When you need a haul, give us a call at 724-852-4488. For 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and 365 days a year, we at JD Enterprises are prepared to serve you.
It takes commitment, passion, and endurance to make something great. Made by champions, for champions.
You know, when I take the bike out like this, all my stresses just melt away.
I hear that. This bad boy can fix anything.
Yeah, tough day at work. Nice cruiser sort you right out.
When I'm riding, I'm not even thinking about my painful cavity.
Oh, you shouldn't ignore that.
And every time I get stressed about having to pay my bills, I just hop on the bike, man.
Oh, come on, man. You gotta pay your bills.
You don't have to worry about anything when you're protected by America's #1 motorcycle insurer.
Well, you definitely do. Those things aren't related, so...
Oh, that is a vibrating pain.
Every generation believes they've invented the best way. With age comes wisdom. We've come to realize that every piece of knowledge is learned, passed down from those generous and patient enough to teach. Legacy It's not about leaving something behind to be remembered by. It's realizing that the future lies within the next generation. The nature of true progress is humbly building something bigger than yourself. Rocky Mountain ATV MC. This is our legacy.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Wiseco John Penton GNCC. We're hanging out at the finish line, waiting for our leaders to make their way through, checking in. Oh, chaos over at the FMF PowerPoint, mile marker number 10. But we're having a great time here in the Racer TV studios. Zach Heron alongside Craig DeLong and the US ISDE team manager, Auntie, here to talk to us about the expectations and the excitement coming into next week, heading into Spain. Auntie, how are you doing, and how are we feeling headed into Spain?
Well, thank you, Zach. It's been a long process now getting the team together. Obviously, we have Craig here on studio now with us, and unfortunately he had a little accident and injury, so we hate to see him on the sidelines this year, but hopefully he'll be back soon. And we had to make some last-minute replacement changes, and Cody Barnes is going to replace Craig, who's actually doing well in the race today. And it's pretty wild out there today. Just looking at the results, and it's the XC2 and XC3 guys are mixing it in the top spot. So it'll be an interesting day today. But overall, for the ISD team, we have a great team, and had a strong team even with the replacements. We also had to do a last-minute change. Another GNCC racer, Corey Steed, unfortunately she got injured as well, and she got replaced by Ava Silvestri from West Coast. So we'll have two riders that are kind of stepping in last minute. We made those changes just a couple of days ago, and fortunate enough to get Phoenix Honda on board, and a really great cooperation from them, and Red Moto from Italy for Cody to get two bikes, race bike, chase bike, over to Spain, and get everything still put together the way that it's done properly. So a great thank you for David Ellard and the team in Phoenix Honda, and then also for Eva Silvestri. She was ready to step in. She already was going there for a club team, for women club team, so her bike and everything is there. So not too many sleepless nights. It was just a lot of work to get the coordinations done, but our team is looking strong. We have Johnny Girard, Dante Oliveira, Josh Todt, and now Cody Barnes in the trophy team. Very strong team. We were looking to defend our championship, and then on a junior team we have Grant Davies, who's leading the XC2 now, and we have Matteo Oliveira from West Coast, and Jason Tino, who's done phenomenal this year in the 258 class. And unfortunately, I just came from the SOS Medical Tent. We had a little team meeting there. Johnny Girard was out there, Jason Tino, they were getting checked out. They had an unfortunate first lap, and yeah, just one of those days for those two, but luckily both checked out okay. It'll take maybe a week or so to get them back recovered, but both with minor injuries, so we're heading to Spain with the roster we have now. And also a great team for women. We have Brandy Richards, who raced the second place today here at the Jump at the GNCC, and then we have Rachel Kudis. She's not here today racing. Normally she races some GNCCs, and now, like I mentioned, Eva Silvestri is stepping in for Corey. So great team looking overall. So yeah, glad to have the team put together, and looking forward. We're leaving next Friday, and it'll be about 2.5 week journey, and glad to have Craig also join us. That's really great to have him still join us to Spain and help the team and cheer the team out. It's been a dream of his to be in a team, and unfortunately not this year, but hopefully there's many more future opportunities for Craig to be in the team.
Hey, without doubt, and going to be very exciting to be able to kind of add your experience and give some advice as well. It's probably a unique experience for these riders. They're so used to hey, I'm racing against you, to all of a sudden I'm racing with you. And Craig, you can even probably talk about that as well. As far as, does the mentality change? Are you sharing lines? Are you talking to each other? How does things differ as far as from a race weekend like this, where you guys are, I don't want to say sworn enemies, but at the end of the day, that's your job, is to beat each other, to going over there and all representing the US of A and as a big team?
Yeah, it's definitely different for sure. I mean, for instance, Johnny and I, like, you know, here at the GNCCs, we're competitors. We're wanting to beat each other, but over there we have to, you know, we're a team. So, you know, we all walk the tests together because you're not allowed to e-bike or cycle the track. So you have to walk, and we all walk as a big team, and we all visualize and remember each corner as a group, and yeah, we just help each other out and put, you know, lines or just asking questions. It's honestly it's really similar to, like, if you were riding in a big group with your friends, like during the week, you're just, you know, not hanging out and just chit-chatting, but you're there to, you know, help out and, you know, make sure everybody does their best.
Yeah, nobody's hiding anything. Put it like that. Everything's out on the table. Everybody wants to help everything. And take a look at this. We got our man Jackie Legs, Jackson Burrell, down at the FMF PowerPoint. Jackson, it's looking slick and slide, but you found some traction, man. How's it looking out there?
Man, I barely found any traction. It was as hard as I've ever had to fight to get up a hill in my life, to get up to the place that we're at right now. This is gnarly, to say the least, guys. It's a 50-50 for most of our riders if they're going to be able to make it up the hill or not. I'm sure our pros are going to make it look easy, but don't think it's easy whatsoever. As you can see, a rider making their way up now, not going to be able to make it up, man. There is tons of roots. You name it, it's out here on this hill climb. Some lines really starting to develop. The ruts are starting to get really deep. This is a section to watch, guys.
Yeah, it's going to be fun to watch for sure. Now, Jackson, are you seeing, obviously we've seen some chaos, some fans going crazy over there. We saw some of this yesterday as well. What seems to be the hotline? We saw several of those leaders headed kind of more towards the right-hand side, and then we did see Stu Baylor a little bit closer to where you're at on the left. Just from your perspective, what do you think looks to be the most advantageous and the safest or easiest route to get up to the top?
The safest, probably the fastest, is if you don't go up any of the main lines and kind of make your own line up. That's been the fastest lines up it. But for most of these riders, it's just wherever they can go up. The bike kind of sends them wherever it wants to go. And these riders really having a tough time over here with this section.
And I feel like I already know the answer to this, but are our GNCC Mud Fleas lending a hand? Are they helping out the racers when they're not making it all the way up?
Man, they are really trying, but it is much steeper than it appears on the camera. They really can't get down to the riders.
Now, we do know there is an alternate line as well, kind of off of where this camera shot is at. Are we seeing a fair amount of riders taking that as well, or does it seem like for the moment everybody's at least attempting the hill at first?
Yeah, everybody that I've been seeing is mainly trying to attempt the hill. Some people having to turn back around and take an alternate line, but there's these two main lines here on the hill that all the riders are trying to take.
Well, thanks for the report, Jackson. Hang out and let us know if anything else. Whoa, watch out. Stay safe out there, Jackson. Make sure you find some cover. Jackson hanging on for dear life. We appreciate him putting life and limb out on the line to give us the report from the FMF PowerPoint. Man, it's chaos out there, Johnny.
It is, and, you know, Jackson Burrell out there on the scene. And you know what, guys? Yesterday, we kind of had a feeling towards the end of the race that ooh, there we go, another one down. That Monster Mile was going to play a pivotal role in the outcome of yesterday's ATV race. It almost seems to me today that it could be a combination of that Monster Mile, obviously the Penton section, and even this FMF PowerPoint. I mean, it's getting so slick, especially when you throw lapped riders in the mix. If we've got a multiple rider battle coming up through this section towards the end of the race, coming to the finish, it really could loom large just what line they pick.
Well, and that was what I was going to ask about as we take a look at our past winners. Like we said, Jordan Ashburn grabbing the win last year, wrapping up his title here in 2022. Josh Strang having some really good results here as well. We talked about the expectation for him to do well, grabbing the win in 2021. Caleb Russell and Thad Duvall both grabbing wins out here as well. But to your point, there's a lot of, as we can see, that rider does make it all the way up. I'm kind of surprised we haven't really seen, or as we wait for our leaders, yesterday we didn't see a lot of lap traffic get into the mix until late into the race. I'm not sure if we're expecting more of the same of that, but as far as the thick lappers, it's one thing to catch a lapper here and there, but it really seems like towards the tail end of this race, they're going to get into some good riders that are going to be in battles with other good riders. They're not going to want to move out of the way for these XC1 guys. They're probably not even going to know it's the XC1 guys at first. I could see that playing a huge part in a section just like this.
Yeah, absolutely, and that's exactly what you explained is one of the toughest things, especially on the last lap. Coming in towards the finish, I mean, if you're in a battle, and a lot of these cases, it'll be top B riders, top A riders even, that are battling. They're battling, potentially they have championships on the line. They're battling for a win. They're battling for a top 3, a top 5 in their class. They hear a bike behind them. They just think it's one of the riders that they've been trying to get away from for the last 3 hours. Suddenly it's an XC1 battle, and it becomes very complicated complicated trying to figure out exactly when you should move over, when you should hold your line, but these guys do a really good job with it. Leader on screen, that is the 198 of Liam Draper, still in that point position. Not able to open it up much over. Looks to still be Lyndon Snodgrass there in the number 2 spot. Then Jordan Ashburn definitely there in the number 3 spot. Followed closely by, looks like Ricky Russell in 4th. Stu Baylor in 5th. Looks like maybe Wachowski there in 6th. And then is that Grant Davis there in the 7th place spot physically, meaning that definitely still your overall leader on corrected time can almost see Liam Draper ahead of him, the physical overall leader.
And got to think, I mean, as comfortable as he is running the pace, and honestly, we even asked him at the last interview. He says, yeah, I'm kind of getting used to battling with these XC1 guys, starting to know how they ride. As we take a look at your leader on screen, once again, Liam Draper out front leading the way. He could not only probably catch a glimpse of Liam Draper, he might just try to chase him down.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, sure, if you're Grant Davis, I mean, that would be your exact, goal, I would assume, is if you can get to somebody's rear wheel, you got to beat. But right now, he does still have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 riders in front of him physically between he and Liam Draper. But with that time correction, he's definitely up in there in the mix for that overall position. Likely has a little bit of a comfortable gap once you do the time correction.
And I think with these XC1 guys, at least when I was early this year, when Grant or the XC2 guys would catch us, it's early in the race. We're not going to pull over for the XC2 guys. I mean, I've been there before. The XC1 guys, they're stubborn. They don't want to pull over, and I can see why. It's early in the race, and so I think he's going to have to fight for every position he gets here early in the race.
Well, and I think there's a big difference, Greg. We've talked about this in the past. When an XC2 or even an A rider works their way up in to the overall late in a race, maybe an XC1 or an XC2 guy is kind of struggling a little bit, you're more likely to let a guy by and think like, okay, I'm going to try to pace off this guy. Maybe I can salvage something out of the day. When you're within sight of the leader, which these guys are, and I don't care if the guy behind me is an XC2 or whatever, I'm now racing him for overall positions. I'm way less inclined to kind of not even pull over, but give him a little room. You're going to kind of make sure you close those insides, kind of jam him in a corner if you can and try to keep him behind you. But, Liam Draper opened it up a bit there in that section.
Looks like.
Yeah, absolutely.
So taking a look, did we lose?
Yep,
looks like maybe a mistake from Snodgrass. Yeah, Jordan Ashburn capitalizing on that and taking the number 2 position away.
Looks like it. Is that a lap? That's a lapped rider there that pulled out of the way. It is still Snodgrass there. Looks like in 3rd. Almost looks like Wachowski in 4th, and Grant Davis now up to 5th is what it looked like from that shot. We'll have to wait and see. Man, these guys they're all right together, except for this guy out front. Lower right of your screen, that is your race leader, Liam Draper out front on that Ampro Yamaha 450. Now his 3rd race in the XC1 Pro class and making waves each of the 3 times, this time leading all by himself out front.
Moving up from the XC2 class to the XC1, and Craig, you're the perfect person to talk about this. I mean, Liam says, hey, I was feeling very comfortable on my machine, everything to do in that XC2 class, and then I got on the XC1 and realized maybe I wasn't as comfortable as I thought. I really feel at home on this YZ450. How big of a difference is it? It seems like sometimes it hurts as we look. Whoa, Johnny G pointing out Grant Davis trying to make a move.
He's got up to the back of Wachowski, so he's gotten around Baylor. He's gotten around.
Yeah, where's Stu?
I think that was Stu that was just
right here, maybe down.
Yeah, no. Yep, there's Stu right there. So he's gotten around Baylor. He's gotten around quite a few of the other XC1 riders. Now all the way up to physically in that 5th place spot was 7th, just 1 camera shot to go. So he's on the move.
Back to the point I was asking, the biggest differences between the 250 and the 450. Draper obviously feeling right at home here on the 450, but some riders saying it takes a long time to get used to. What do you think some of those biggest differences he's facing are?
For a 250 to a 450 is my biggest. If that was in those shoes, would be the weight. The weight and the inertia of a 450 for 3 hours is a lot compared to a 250F. But for Liam, he didn't have a great season in XC2, and honestly, he's still motivated to do well. And obviously, the 450 XC1 is new; it's fresh, so he doesn't really have expectations. So it's easy to kind of go out and put yourself in good positions, like you're just, you don't really have a lot of stuff riding on your mind and stuff like that. So I know when I moved up, like that first year or so, like it was go out and, put in good rides and learn. And yeah, it just takes time, and then you just, I'm not surprised about the rides that he's been putting in. Like, he's been riding the 450 at the Sprint Enduros this year, and he's been very competitive and very good. So I'm not surprised. He's riding really well, and yeah, it's good to see, honestly.
May not have any pressure as far as the rest of this season goes, but with these kind of performances, it's going to be a little bit of pressure come next year, especially if he's able to keep the consistency going. Now we're showing some carnage essentially here on screen, just because we want to show how drastic the difference is between when the top riders in GNCC go through compared to, we'll say, the mere mortals. And by no means, these are some of the best riders in the country. They go and they're winning at your local races. They're the guys that you think, hey, these guys could probably be the next XC1 champions, but it just goes to show how much, Craig, you and your competitors there on that starting row are the pinnacle of the sport. Look at the human chain link fence being put together just in case. Didn't quite need them.
But the Mud Flea's willing to help out.
Not
they weren't going to leave him stranded there. Those kids joined arms. They were going to pull him up if need be. But you exactly pointed that out, Zach. I mean, this section, again, we can't express enough when you're at home watching just how steep, just how difficult some of this stuff is. And the camera, as much as we're in there and we bring you great coverage from Racer TV, whether it be the drone or these static cameras, this is very steep. You cannot walk up this hill unless you're on your hands and your knees. But here, looking at it, you're like, it doesn't look so bad. Like, I could probably ride my bicycle up that. No, it's very challenging, and these guys absolutely showing how tough it is when we see some of our A-class and B-class and H-class riders working their way through, looping out their bikes, falling down, having to take the alternate route, and then most of your XC1 and XC2 riders, XC3 riders, when they get there, just zip right up like it's nothing.
Yeah, pretty rare. I think Ricky even caught air. He was going so fast at that thing on the first lap. So definitely impressive to see how drastic of a difference it is. And we've seen it on hill climbs. We've seen it on creek crossings. It just goes to show in each discipline of off-road racing, these guys have got it almost as perfect as you can get it. So taking a little look out of the trailer, somebody must be trying to leave.
Yeah.
We can hear
there's a whole other show going on here at the John Penton GNCC, and that's the folks trying to exit after their race either this morning or even from yesterday. The parking here definitely a challenge, but hey man, it just shows how hardy the GNCC faithful are. They came out in droves. We had a great turnout here this weekend. Everybody having a good time and willing to a little bit of wade through the mud to make it happen.
Hey, nobody at GNCC is scared of mud, especially these folks right here hanging out at the FMF PowerPoint, waiting on our leaders. And while we wait on our leaders, hey, like we said, a little more of a lighthearted interview. We talked about what some of these riders were willing to do if they weren't racing GNCC, and we'll give you a little look. We'll surprise you. We'll see who we've got up.
I really don't have an answer for that question. You know, since I got on the dirt bike when I was 18 months old, training wheels, and so it's been my life, and I never had another option. So.
I don't know what I'd be doing if I wasn't racing motorcycles. I'd probably be back in Australia working somewhere. I don't know. It's hard to say because dirt bikes have definitely been a big part of my life, and yeah. But I'd say I'd still be riding dirt bikes, but just for a bit of fun.
Oh man, that's a tough question. I mean, I'm sure a lot of other people would probably have the same answer. Like I'd never really wanted to do anything else other than race dirt bikes, so it'd be tough to say, but if I had to guess off the top of my head, I'd probably be working on Volkswagens. That's what my dad did when I was growing up, and I worked for him a little bit in high school. I still have a passion for cars, and I really like cars and Volkswagens, so that's probably where I'd end up, or I'd be right now still if I didn't start doing this.
Yeah, so I enjoy like entrepreneurship and kind of different sides of that, so I think if I was not a GNCC racer, I'd be in that field.
Probably doing some type of racing of some sort. My dad worked for Roger Penske and Penske IndyCar team when he was got out of high school. They were based out of where I grew up in Pennsylvania, and he always said that if he could afford it, if he could afford it back when we were younger, we would have been racing go-karts and all that stuff. So maybe racing go-karts. He's an auto mechanic, so maybe I'd be working on cars. Who knows? I'd probably have a beer belly. I don't know. Probably a beer belly for sure.
So a professional beer belly haver is Craig DeLong's backup plan.
He's still looking slim in the trailer. Don't worry, folks. Okay, we're not spinning wrenches quite yet.
Only 2 weeks off the bike, so he's still doing all right. He has a tendency, though. he gets a little off track sometimes if he's not properly.
I did see him look at those brownies when he walked in.
You know, Craig, I'm going to go ahead and while we wait for our leaders to come through here, blow you up. After his big win in Georgia last year that set him on that championship, that path, he actually was busted by his coach, trainer, leader of the group there, Caleb Russell. I don't remember the exact of what it was, but I do know Caleb on Monday morning asked to use your truck to go somewhere. When he got in, there was an Alabama Red Bull, I believe he called it, which is a Mountain Dew, Alabama Monster, I guess. It was a Mountain Dew, Skittles, and then Craig proceeded to say, man, I'm glad he didn't look in the back seat because there was the empty Zaxby's box where Craig had stopped for dinner on the way back. And the comedy was Craig kind of was very sheepish and said, hey, you know, I'm sorry, I was in a hurry to get back, wanted to get back and, you know, obviously get things cleaned up so we can get back to work. And Ben Kelly, former GNCC champion himself, responded back and said, Craig, in the same group message with all of us, said, Craig, that's not the right answer. The right answer is P1, baby, I do what I want. So that's that swagger we're talking about. Craig coming out with the beer belly comment. Leader on screen, Liam Draper coming through, leading the way. There is now second place ride of the Coastal Racing Gas Gas. Jordan Ashburn up into the number 2 spot. Then it is Lyndon Snodgrass there coming through in third, and here comes the rest. And Mike Rakowski charging back, lost a little bit of ground there early, but now back up to the number 4 spot. So there is
that was BK.
Grant Davis dropped back a couple spots, or at least one. Craig pointing out possibly Ben Kelly there, the number 530 on that Red Bull FMF KTM. Then comes Ricky Russell, the 212. Then it is Stu Baylor. So these guys, you can see some dry dirt starting to kick up in this particular camera shot here at the 8-mile marker.
Never ceases to amaze me. You walk in this property on Thursday or Friday, the downpour. I was hanging out with you, Johnny, holding on to the GBC tents, thought we were going to go flying away. There we see Cody Barnes making his way around, and like you said, sure enough, we had flashes of dust yesterday and some more dry dirt popping up here today. So definitely a go ahead, Johnny.
No, I believe so. I think we saw Cody Barnes there. You did, and then we also, I think that was Gus Reardon, who's now caught the tail end of that battle. So you know he's on a mission to try to track down the number 922 of Grant Davis to stop him from earning the points necessary. There is Thad Duvall, the 989, another local racing product. A lot of laps around this Penton facility. We saw his name on the highlight of previous winners from this round. So we know he does well here in that XC2 class, up inside the top 5.
Now, correct me if I'm wrong. Did we have Thad Duvall on a 4-wheeler doing some racing in between races? How did that come?
So J.D. Higgins, the owner of the Red Bear Rocky Mountain ATV MC Kawasaki team, is an ATV guy himself, and Thad obviously rides for that team. And I don't know exactly how it all came to be. You'd have to ask those guys all the specifics, but they ended up teaming up, came out to Fast Tracks just about 3 miles from here last weekend. And I got to tell you what, I like to talk a little smack, but Thad Duvall, impressive on 4 wheels. Without question, the smoothest. I didn't see lap time, so I couldn't say fastest. It looks like Jack Walker now coming through on screen, our XC3 leader. Give him a little love. When they checked in with 1 lap complete, was sitting in that 3rd place. If you look at the left side of your screen there, that number 719. Sometimes we have guys that, you know, maybe the lap times are a little off, but that is legit. That is an XC3 rider up into the 3rd place overall. But yeah, Thad looked really good, posted some videos on his Instagram, and he pointed out, and I think it's the statute of limitations on this particular crime has passed, but Thad Duvall, or Chad Duvall, used to do a lot of testing for some ATV companies, and Thad has kind of let it slip that Chad didn't do any of that testing back in the day. Young Thad Duvall at the time, between the ages of 11 and 15 or so, he did all of the riding on all of those machines. Actually tested a gas ATV back in the day for Mickey Dunlap and the 4-stroke tech team that Chad Duvall rode for. It was actually Thad that was putting on all the hours on that ATV. So he said, hey, yeah, I didn't really race an ATV a lot. He said, but man, I've got tons and tons and tons of hours on ATVs over the years. So he looked like a natural.
Hey, pretty cool to see. Yeah, always cool to see you guys having fun whenever you're not here at the races. Obviously, it's all business when you're here on site, but at the end of the day, we all do this because we love it. And so cool to see 2 wheels, 4 wheels, Thad Duvall having a great time and running a decent race right now for sure. Love to be just a little bit further up. I did not see it. Curious if you guys saw Nick DeFeo go by. I know the last time we saw him, he was right on the rear wheel of, I believe it was Gus Reardon the last time we saw him. So still running right about there in that XC2 class.
Yes.
One last little piece of trash talk on Thad on the ATV. I did actually run that race as well. 46 years old, retired, haven't raced in 18 months. No, I would expect, not to be arrogant, I would expect to beat Thad on ATV. My partner, my teammate, YXC2 championship winner today was Landon Glauda, so a 12-year-old, and we beat up on Thad and JD Higgins. So sorry, guys. Thad, you looked great, but just couldn't get the job done, bud. An old man and a small child took it to you.
Hey, better looks next time, right?
Yeah. He's definitely denied his destiny, though. He looked really good. So here is looking good out front, the 198, still no goggles.
Yeah.
And looking to be, at least for right now, the right decision. He got himself that lead, probably trying to open up enough of a gap. We do know, with looking at where we're at here, an hour and a half in, I have to assume all these guys are going to have to stop for fuel this lap, get themselves topped off for what's looking like it'll probably only be a 4-lap race.
Taking a look now, it did look like Ashburn had maybe closed that gap back up just a little bit and bringing Snodgrass, and it looks like Wachowski along with him as well. So then it was, good spot there from Craig DeLong. Ben Kelly just behind, and then Grant Davis up on the pegs once again, just cool, calm, and collected, not rushing anything, and it pays off for him. Gets off of those moon rocks and gets back to, I guess, a little bit of traction in some of that mud.
There might be some in there somewhere. Not much, but a little bit. But now these guys have really started to open up over the next group of riders. Looks to be Stu Baylor leading the charge from this pack just a little bit further back outside the top 5. And then it is our early race leader of Ricky Russell. Doesn't even look like, it almost looks like, he still has the tear off on those goggles. So he got those goggles, if that is the same set, almost a lap ago. Then
we know he pulled in.
Oh, okay. So he stopped in again after the pit stop?
Oh, I don't know.
I take that back. I think it was just the one change.
Yep. So if
I think Gus Reardon had gotten by Cody Barnes right there.
There you go. So we may have a new second place rider in that XC2 class. Then it's Thad Duvall in the 4th place spot in that XC2 class. He's not on a quad today, folks. He is on 2 wheels, and he's managing to keep it upright. So good news. Deep breath. He hasn't lost his ability to balance himself.
Was it a thumb or a twist throttle?
I actually don't know. I didn't look at the machine to see. You'd have to ask JD, I guess. JD, if you're listening, I know you're listening a lot. You gave us some information about when actually Stu Baylor had broken the engine cases at the last round. So if you're listening, was it a thumb or was it a twist on the machine of Thad Duvall? And I don't know if it's too early to break this news. We got our leaders coming, but we're going to have some real star power on ATVs at Ironman. Guy by the name of Ryan Villapoto, another guy by the name of Damon Bradshaw, I believe, coming out as part of some Blue Crew festivities and going to race an ATV. So there is Stu Baylor. Leaders have already come through. This is the second group. So it's Baylor, Ricky Russell, Evan Smith, Josh Strang. There is Gus Reardon, and he has gotten around Cody Barnes. So that's 2nd and 3rd in your XC2 class. And then here comes the 989 of Thad Duvall, rounding out the top 4 in that XC2 Pro Lights class.
So, Johnny, I've known you for a while now, and you've seen another XC1 guy, bike guy on a quad a couple years ago. Who would win between Thad and Grant Baylor on a 4-wheeler?
Oh, that's a good... So... man, that's a big, long story from way back in the day. Grant Baylor was a natural on an ATV. He was very fast. Thad looked like he was moving fast, but he was just so smooth. Grant was not smooth on the quad, but he was absolutely ripping, just like this guy out front is. Not a huge gap. Jordan Ashburn can see him, but Liam Draper just really looking comfortable. And, Craig, you said, no pressure. Maybe there's something to be learned there, buddy. I mean, if you can control your mindset, look at what this guy's doing. He's got no pressure, no championship implications, just riding his dirt bike. And now 3 races in a row, has himself in the mix. Hour and 34 minutes into this one, still in the mix for a win. I don't know. Maybe there's something to be learned there. Maybe. Hard to say. Jordan Ashburn, a guy that almost looks like he never feels any pressure. He's just rock solid everywhere he goes. Then it's Lyndon Snodgrass. Great ride for him on the 178. Babbitt's Online, Monster Energy, Kawasaki rounding out the podium positions as they run. Then comes, looks like Ben Kelly in there. There's Grant Davis, all those guys. Oh, and Mike Wachowski as well. Still in that same running order as we saw them at our last camera shot.
Yeah, it looked like BK had maybe closed up just a little bit on Mike Wachowski and was bringing Grant Davis right along with him. But right now, looking like he's on a Sunday cruise, just kind of flowing around and, getting caught up there from some lap traffic is Jordan Ashburn. He was pretty nice there. He definitely could have forced the issue a little bit more, but that's what we were talking about. There's a few sections where things really start to tighten up, only a couple of good lines. We heard it yesterday from Bryson Neal, wrong place, wrong time. Craig, that is a real thing. There is just a bad time to catch up to some lappers.
100%, and especially on a track like this, that main line is going to be the best line out there. So to get around lappers or even other competitors, like you're going to have to get out of the good traction and get into the slick stuff. So things are going to get a little close if you got to make a pass. So it's one of those things you got to prepare for.
Taking a look, I believe that was Cody Barnes that we just saw on the top of the hill here at the FMF PowerPoint. Still looking like a majority of the field as Thad Duvall makes his way up, kind of taking that far right-hand line as they're approaching. We did see your leaders a little bit closer to the left. Actually,
Stu?
Yeah, Stu went way back.
Wow, possibly a crash for Stu.
So he dropped just between the 9 and 10 mile marker. He lost, what, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 positions physically and probably a good 15 plus seconds on track there. So, man, just showing this racetrack really can jump up and bite you at any time.
So 2 lap card coming out as we watch your leader, Liam Draper, make his way through the finish line. And I cannot stress how slick this area is right here. Rachel Archer, when she came across the line, almost headed into the scoring trailer trying to get slowed down. Jordan Ashburn making his way through as well. And once again, obviously Liam doing a great job right now, but Jordan putting himself in a fantastic position here just past the halfway mark. And we talked about feeling very confident and a lot of momentum headed into this round. So excited to see whether or not the Coastal Racing Gas rider is able to close in on the back of the Ampro Yamaha, but Liam Draper not even trying to make it a discussion. He says, I'm trying to check out, and he will be checking into the pit shortly. Definitely going to grab some goggles and get refueled. Don't really think any pit strategies are going on today, especially with as much vision is going to be needed. Pretty much everybody going to have to stop in.
Also, this is a weird one, man. A 4-lap race. I mean, other than maybe a previous race here at the Penton, or way back when we used to do the double loop side at Snowshoe and things worked out there, you know, I can't think of a time where we've had a race where it's pretty much determined, like, hey, you can either stop every lap or you can stop once in the middle, and those are your only 2 options.
Yeah, I mean,
nobody's going to be able to go 3. It's not physically possible.
No, that'd be, I think they said it was like a 18, 17 mile track or something, so that's more than we can go mileage wise, but it's a slower pace, so I don't see anybody trying to stretch it. It'd be too close. And for the most part, we all have the same size gas tanks for the most part. So, yeah, I don't see anybody trying to do anything crazy. You know, stop one time in the middle of the race, done. You know, it's easy.
Now, we did see, it looked like when Russell came in, he got goggles and fuel. So could that possibly change some things?
Possibly. It's hard to say. I mean, if that's the case,
and I don't know that for sure. I thought I saw the quick fill can, but this rider unfortunately having some trouble. Momentum, another thing worth talking about in these kind of conditions, Craig, and we saw this even today in the AM race. A small bottleneck just after the finish line in that scoring area. They kind of dip down into this little ravine, and then they come back. But one rider, he kind of got hesitant. He stopped, tried to change his line. Back tire started spinning. Then the next rider slammed into him, and so on and so forth. But it seems like as far as if you're able to keep your momentum and almost roll through these corners, as we check in, looks like Jack Walker has made his way through. Let's see where the XC3 rider's at.
Oh, Craig doesn't know how to ride. No, don't start hitting buttons. You don't know what you're doing. All right. Running order as they run with time correction. Grant Davis leading the way. Looks like Jack Walker has dropped all the way down to the number 9 spot on time correction. So Grant Davis leading the way. Liam Draper in the number 2 spot. Jordan Ashburn 3rd. Lyndon Snodgrass in 4th. Gus Reardon 5th physically, and then Ben Kelly 6th overall on corrected time, followed by Cody Barnes, Thad Duvall, and Jack Walker rounding out the top 9. Looking like now we got some more riders checked in with 2 laps complete. It is also Jonathan Johnson, Nick DeFeo, Ricky Russell, Josh Strang, Brody Johnson, Evan Smith, Jay Lipscomb, and now Stu Baylor have all checked in with 2 laps complete.
Taking a look, I believe that's Dakota DeVore, also out of that XC3 class, making his way up and through the FMF PowerPoint. So, as far as I know,
that's a big stretch
gap,
from where he's at the 10-mile marker. I mean, it's at least another, it's got to be pushing a mile to the finish line from there by the time you come down through that next section, and then there's actually a little teardrop wood section that comes back to the finish line. So it's going to be a big gap of well over probably a minute and a half, 2 minutes from Jack Walker back to whether or not he's second place in that XC2 is Dakota DeVore, but a rider we expected to see big things out of today. Does very well in these conditions, but Jack Walker just absolutely on rails today.
Yeah, without a doubt, putting the power to the ground. Looked like that might have possibly been Gavin Simon, I thought, leaping up the hill on that far side. Other rider trying to take some different lines. Definitely, that was the Walker Fowler line from yesterday. Definitely the long way around, but they were able to get up.
That's Will Stephen Piper there out of the, I believe that's 4-stroke A lights, or 250A.
I want to say Grant and Liam, I think Liam had, Grant had a faster lap time, but it says they're.
If you go to the elapsed time, that'll show. So 1:36.03 for Grant Davis, 1:36.33. So 30 seconds exactly is the lead on corrected time that Grant Davis has over Liam Draper. Look at this. We got some riders turn around. I believe that might have been one of the Whitmer boys that had to turn around and go back down. We'll see when he comes up.
Come on, Swolt Cole.
Well, I don't know which one it was, and I'm not certain. I just caught a 3-digit. Looked like it was the red moose gear. Spinning around. Going to give it another go, and it is.
Oh, yeah, it is. Hang on to that thing, bud.
It is Swole Cole Whitmer there out of that Open A class. Actually, on the overall podium a couple rounds ago, last round at 2 rounds ago at the Buckwheat, over on that overall amateur podium. So need to get moving if he's going to get himself back up there today.
Yeah, and that was a big deal for him, working his way back up to that podium. He actually came up and he said, "Hey, how are you? I'm Cole. Nice to meet you finally." And so, yeah, obviously a great rider, and with that comes some confidence and some momentum. So great to see him back out there. Obviously not wanting to have to turn around and go the opposite direction, but did the smart thing. Didn't just sit there and spin and spin and spin. Went ahead, accepted it, went back down, made another approach, and got right up it.
Yep, quick spin around and right back up, no problems the second time. It just, you could miss your line by just a couple inches, get into some of the really slick stuff, or get off balance, and it can really make things a lot more challenging up this FMF PowerPoint.
So moving over and take a look at that. Yeah, we've got some rain falling down. And taking a look outside the Racer TV truck. This is right before the 2-mile mark where we're at right now. So we expect to see your leaders any moment now. And could this change some things? We've been talking about, hey, we've got some dry dirt popping up. It is already as slick as a mayonnaise sandwich, taking a one out of Mikey Wayne's book. But what is this going to do? Is it somehow going to make it even more slick?
Well, out here in the fields, it's going to be ice. Yeah, it's going to be really slick. But in the woods, it might not get to it. Just with the leaves and stuff, it might stay pretty good unless it picks up into like a harder rain. But
well, Craig, that actually brings up an interesting point, though, because the parts that are under tree canopy that don't get this rain, they're going to stay how they've been tacking up and getting better and better. But now it's going to be keeping yourself on your toes and being aware, because a lot of times when you're in the trees and you're at speed, there'll be an opening in the trees in like middle of a corner in the middle of the woods, and there's no coverage, and all of a sudden it goes from good grip to ice, and you've just got to be prepared for that. You've got to keep feet on the pegs, get yourself upright, get that grip, or use the rudders, get the feet out. But if you're not prepared for it, you can find yourself on the ground very quickly.
Looking good right now is Liam Draper as he makes his way past here at the 2-mile mark. Did look like he had maybe stretched that gap back out just a little bit, kind of a yo-yo like we saw yesterday between Jordan Ashburn and your leader, Liam Draper, out front. Now, when we move into some of those wide open sections that we saw Snodgrass and Wachowski still neck and neck, possibly some issues for Wachowski's transponder. I noticed that he's not on that side list. So, obviously, as we see BK, and it looks like
Grant
Davis was behind him. So, we do have hand scoring as well, so we'll get that corrected. But we do know Wachowski is right back there in the 4th place position. But, Craig, when you move out to, let's say, something wide open like that Penton section, you talk about the main line being the line, but it is a little hard packed and pushed down. Will we see them kind of start to move into more of the thick stuff as it gets a little bit slicker, or do they want to stay where it's hard packed and they don't want to try to get caught up in that stuff?
That's kind of a tough answer. It depends. If it's like super sloppy, you want to stay in the main line. I mean, just click up a gear, be smooth with the throttle, and try not to spin too much, because you don't want to get out in the mud. You're going to go nowhere. Your tire's going to pack up, and yeah, you're not going to be going anywhere.
So even if you're Snodgrass with the paddle tire?
I think that's the same, because I think it's so hard underneath, and it's just the little bit of slop, just pudding type stuff sitting on top. So I don't think you're really going to go nowhere. I could be wrong, though. I really haven't checked out much of the track, so I could be completely wrong. So
not a lot of fluff here. A lot of times we'll see guys kind of move just off that slick line, looking for grip and what they call the fluff, or kind of the dry dirt on the edges. Here it's kind of like you go directly from hard pack slick straight to muck, and there's really no transition in between. So if you get too close to that edge, you're not really finding traction. What you're finding is a opportunity to get yourself just absolutely drawn into that thick stuff, lose your momentum, take away the drive. And I got to give a shout out. So Mike Wachowski looking like he's really starting to put in a charge. Now he's putting some pressure on the riders in front of him. Then comes Ben Kelly on that 530 Red Bull FMF KTM, followed by the Landers KTM of Grant Davis, your overall leader on corrected time, and your XC2 leader. I gotta say, guys, I can't believe that you're telling me that Lyndon Snodgrass is running a MX-14 scoop tire and doing this well on this track. It just goes to show, they talk about it week in and week out on Supercross, the advancements that Dunlop has made to that MX-14, because if you would have told me this 2 years ago, I would have looked right at you and said, you're lying. He can't possibly be running that tire. But they're saying that they've made some improvements, that somehow they've taken a paddle tire and made it that it's rideable on hard pack?
Yeah, I haven't put much time on one, honestly, just in Florida. And honestly, with being on a 452, he's able to lug it probably a little bit more, so he doesn't really break the tire loose maybe as much as like a 250 or a 350 would. So maybe he's able to tiptoe through some of that slick stuff and just kind of wait till he can get straight and then hammer it. So, yeah, look,
there it is. Good shot. That is definitely an MX-14, no question. And he's on the hammer, and so is Mike Witkowski. These guys wasting no time. The crews are saying, it's fine, roost us. We need to get going. And okay, yep, so it is still Draper out front in the number 2 spot. It is still, even after the pit, after all the fuel, all the adjustments made, everything else that these guys did, same running order.
Look at how slow they're having to go through that right-hander right there. And
that's off camber. It doesn't look like it, but it's not a flat corner. It actually slopes off towards the fence there, so the last thing you want to do is slide off and get yourself tied up in that fence down there.
So making our way through. Look at this, Snodgrass putting the charge on, putting that scoop to good use, and has closed it within a couple of bike lengths of Jordan Ashburn now, as meanwhile Liam Draper trying to sneak away.
That field's ice, so you can tell those guys are tiptoeing pretty good.
You also see, look like Lyndon Snodgrass, something you don't see a lot of dirt bike guys doing, pulling on the string of a roll-off. These guys are tear-offs for life. Absolutely blows my mind. But nonetheless, on a day like today, Craig, you're almost put in a position, especially when it's raining, you just can't stack enough tear-offs on there. You know, you're constantly having to wipe. If you're with tear-offs with roll-offs, you know, you can have upwards of 50, 60, some companies even more. Here we see Ricky Russell on screen. Definitely has lost some time here from a lap ago when he was leading. Now into the pits, looking like he is back. There is Stu Baylor. There is Thad Duvall in the pits from that XC2 class. There goes Gus Reardon. So actually Duvall had gotten around him at some point out there. And now Baylor and Duvall and Russell all leaving the pits. Barnes leaving the pits at the exact same time.
So making their way through.
I like roll-offs, man. I'm a roll-off guy.
Well, you're smart.
X-Brand goggles.
Got to get those
Giving
sponsor
them the shout out. I like it.
Yeah.
Let's see it.
All right, leaders on screen. Upper right corner, Liam Draper getting a little squirrely, but getting it under control. Next up, it is.
Ooh, that looks slick.
Yeah, so slick. The number 3 of Jordan Ashburn, and then Lyndon Snodgrass. Maybe that's somewhere that we're seeing that scoop tire not quite do as well, because that is just as hard. Look at that big drive from Ben Kelly up there, pulling away from Grant Davis and getting almost to the rear wheel of Mike Witkowski on screen. So that is your 5th place rider starting to put pressure on the Phoenix Racing Honda and bringing the younger KTM teammate of Grant Davis with him. So this seems to be, Davis getting a little squirrely there.
I've seen
BK looks a little racy. I think he's loosening up a little bit.
I was just about to say, I saw him take a couple of insides, obviously all well within the track, but moving over kind of into some of the grassier sections, just looking for some soil that hasn't been tilled up yet. So, yeah, to your point there, Craig, BK definitely trying to make a charge here just before the 2-hour mark. Back to our Yamaha Racing live drone. We see him peeking in and out of the trees. And this actually gives you a good idea. We're like right there at the bottom of your screen. That's a quick section where, hey, it goes from coverage to wide open and then back to coverage. So if you're not paying attention, things can change in a second.
Yeah, absolutely. It goes from grip to no grip, and you can be on the ground quicker than you know what happened.
And the camera doesn't show is that this whole section of the field is very off camber, up and down. It's not just flat. It's very, very slick.
So watching Jordan Ashburn did stretch it back out a little bit over Lyndon Snodgrass. Witkowski absolutely stuck right there behind Snodgrass, not letting him get away whatsoever. But to your point, here comes Ben Kelly and Grant Davis, the KTM boys, trying to get up into the mix as we lose them back into the woods.
Rain coming down harder. Shout out to Gabe Shull, man, flying in the rain, inclement conditions. Not going to ground the Yamaha Racing live drone just yet here today. He's flying through the torrential downpours and saying, hey, we're going to bring you guys the live racing action here on Racer TV. We're going to show you all we can, and what a good one it's been here so far today, Zach.
Man, an absolute ton of fun. We'll show you how it's been before we get ready to get a word from our sponsors. So there it is, Liam Draper taking his time and handling business out front, continuing to yo-yo back and forth. Every time we think he's starting to get caught, he stretches that lead back out over the Coastal Racing gas of Jordan Ashburn, and they're bringing pretty much the rest of the XC1 field, including the XC2 rider of Grant Davis, and trying to shake up that overall podium. Grant Davis not only trying to lead on the overall corrected time, but try to get up physically into the mix as well. We're going to get a word from our sponsors, and when we'll be back, we'll be with more racing from the Wise Code John Penton, GNCC.
You know, when I take the bike out like this, all my stresses just melt away.
I hear that. This bad boy can fix anything.
Yep, tough day at work. Nice cruise to sort you right out.
When I'm riding, I'm not even thinking about my painful cavity.
Oh, you shouldn't ignore that.
And every time I get stressed about having to pay my bills, I just hop on the bike, man.
Oh, come on, man. You gotta pay your bills.
You don't have to worry about anything when you're protected by America's #1 motorcycle insurer.
Well, you definitely do. Those things aren't related, so...
Oh, that is a vibrating pain.
Every generation believes they've invented the best way. With age comes wisdom. We've come to realize that every piece of knowledge is learned, passed down from those generous and patient enough to teach.
Take a look.
Legacy. It's not about leaving something behind to be remembered by. It's realizing that the future lies within the next generation.
Let's call tonight. All right.
The nature of true progress is humbly building something bigger than yourself. Rocky Mountain ATV MC. This is our legacy.
Whatever you drive, however you drive. AMSOIL specially engineers lubricants to maximize power, performance, and protection in your vehicles, so you can work hard and play hard with confidence. Order online at amsoil.com.
Progressive GNCC Racing is brought to you by Progressive. Progressive could save you hundreds of dollars on your automobile and motorcycle insurance. Specialized E-Turbo bicycles. It's you, only faster. RockyMountainATVMC.com. Get ready.
And welcome back to GNCC Live here on RacerTV.com. Mikey Wayne's here alongside Johnny Gallagher, Zach Herron, and Jackson Burrell, and our special guest, who we'd rather see racing, honestly, Craig DeLong, but nonetheless, Craig, you're in here with us. We like that. We appreciate it, man. Having a good day here today, although we assume some transponder issues, is Mike Wachowski, and we actually had a chance to catch up with Mike Wachowski to get some of his thoughts on the John Penton GNCC prior to today's race.
Yeah, racing John Penton in the fall this year is going to be different, but when we did one of the Penton rounds or Ohio rounds last year in the fall, or the previous year, it was actually one of my favorite, and I think I did the best result there. So I'm excited to go back in the fall, just something different. We're used to, in the summer, and I don't know, there's nothing better racing than riding in the fall. Yeah, the Penton section, usually they make it pretty technical for us. Obviously, back in the Penton days, it was very technical and tough, and obviously single track. So we have like 2-3 miles or even more of single track. Obviously added on to our original track, but it's usually a good add-on, makes it fun, something different, not wide open. It's definitely got to make sure you hit your marks there, and yeah, if you make a mistake, it's going to cost you for sure. Yeah, the Penton soil can go either way. It can be, dry, like hard slick, something like you would see at Mason-Dixon, or you can go the other way where it's very, very slick, and if it rains, it's a miserable day. Just the terrain's very up and down, hilly, and then adding in the Penton section makes it challenging when it does rain, because it gets very rutted. Last year it rained for us and made the Penton section very, very tough. So it's kind of a make or break on the weather there and how the course shapes up.
Love it for them. Oh, not loving this right here. Some extracurricular activities, if you will, at the Red Bear Racing Kawasaki pits, or maybe just a fresh set of goggles. But in addition to talking to Mike Wachowski about the John Penton, we actually had a chance, another guy having a great race here today, Lyndon Snodgrass, got his thoughts on the John Penton.
The John Penton, man, it's I don't know. A lot of people don't like that place, but I've kind of enjoyed it every time I've been there. I mean, I've had a couple of bad runs there, but yeah, kind of content with it. I think it's a bit of fun. Yeah, last year I wasn't racing, so I got to walk out there and check it out. But last year's one was quite technical from compared to years past. But I don't know. I guess it all depends if it rains or not. Like, if it was the same track but dry, it would be kind of easy. But like if it rains in that Penton section, it's going to be slippery and technical.
Yeah, buddy, there you go. Getting the scoop there from Lyndon Snodgrass. And
the scoop on the scoop tire.
Oh, yeah, I heard you guys talking about that too. My goodness. And, Johnny, you're impressed by it. You're stoked on it.
I'm baffled.
Baffled? All right, that's fair.
And I'm also impressed. I mean, hey, man, whatever works.
Yeah, it's been kind of crazy to watch, for sure. So, 2-lap card is out. And we were just talking off air, Johnny, Craig, when was the last time we, had lap times this long? Obviously, we always have the Penton section here. The laps a little longer historically, but I think the added elements from the weather here today, just like perfect storm for this.
Yeah, I mean, 48-minute lap times, it's pretty crazy. We were 48.03, I believe, for the first. Well, our overall leader, Grant Davis, was 47 and change, but then 48.31 this last lap. So they're actually even getting slower. But, yeah, it's pretty wild, man. It's when we have this kind of racing, we're looking at a 4-lap race. We don't see that very often in GNCC, that's for sure.
Well, I believe we have Jackson Burrell, Jackie Legs standing by, I believe. Oh, Monster Mile. Take it away. What you got, Jackson?
All right, guys, I'm down here at the Monster Mile. This time I don't have any talk back, so I can't talk back to you guys, but nonetheless, I'm down here at the Monster Mile, and as you can see, it is very gnarly. You go through some deep ruts, and there's plenty of big rocks, such as what you see right in front of me, that these riders are going to have to deal with here in this one. I'm hearing that the pro riders trying to go in between the rocks, right where the camera's facing right now, and get down off of the rocks. I believe this is what Johnny is calling a moon rock section. As you can see, completely covered in mud as he makes his way through. A little bit more traction than you may think, but once these guys get off the rocks, they get into some sticky, deep mud, and they have some hills to go up following this very, very rocky section.
Right there, a couple good examples of it, and I heard you guys talking about this earlier. Like, these riders, these aren't like first-year D class. Okay, these are A and B riders. These are experienced riders winning locals out here that are struggling through this. And man, it does put in perspective just how well guys like Craig DeLong and hey, Johnny Gallagher too, retired pro ATV guy over there.
Johnny was just telling me how good he would have traversed yesterday. He would have passed Walker and Bryson.
Oh, guaranteed.
Well, I actually probably would have, obviously. But, no, Mike, you had a good analogy there of just how slick it was. Tell us what you were saying.
Well, okay, that's one that we'll have to save for the HBO special off-air.
Grease on Glass.
Grease on Glass, that's the one, yes.
And just so you guys know, the Moon Rocks reference for the old school GNCC following, such as myself, That was actually a section at the Blackwater 100, very similar to that, just big, crazy-looking rocks that, they have a little grip when they're dry, and the minute you put some moisture, let alone this slick Ohio clay on top of them, it becomes, like, impossible to get any grip. Whether you're walking, riding, ATV, motorcycle, doesn't matter, just absolute no friction.
Rough, terrible, terrifying.
I mean, I don't know that it's any of those things, but it's...
The mud down here is like, Craig, help me out here. It's not of this world, man. Like, this is not earth dirt. I don't know where it came from. Moon rock is correct because it's not from here.
People from Ohio, man, they're a different breed, and
whatever.
They got different dirt, different terrain down here, man. It's different.
Yeah. Johnny calls it home.
Thanks, Johnny. Thank you for everything.
Oh, yeah, there we go.
Oh, look at this. Talk about a cool graphics kit. His Stu's son, Levi, did the graphics design, so they took it. And, man, I mean, nailed it. Knocked it out of the park. They did a great job of replicating it. Levi saying, well, I don't know. It doesn't really look like it, Daddy, because what are all these silly sponsor logos?
Yeah.
I didn't want those things. Stu saying, Levi, you know those toys you play with, that Stay Sick that you ride? You got to go ahead and realize that these are the people that pay the bills.
Yeah, love the added element there, letting his son design the bike. And then, hey, there's another good guy. I know the fans out there are curious, what the heck would Stu Baylor be doing if he wasn't racing dirt bikes? And we got that answer from Stu himself.
If I wasn't racing GNCC, I'm sure I'd be on a dirt bike somewhere. I love the National Enduro Series. I have a good time, but it's hard to say. I'd love to try some hard enduros. There's definitely paths that my dirt bike could take me elsewhere, but if I wasn't introduced with a dirt bike at all, I'd probably be sitting on a bulldozer. I love moving dirt. That's my probably enjoy that more than dirt bikes in general.
And speaking of Baylor's, we want to know what the Grizzly would be doing if he were not racing dirt bikes. My guess is
hunting salmon.
Hunting salmon. That was going to be my guess.
When I was a kid, I always said I would be a professional fisherman. I didn't know if I would take people out on guides and take them fishing or be a professional bass fisherman or what I was going to do. But when I was a kid, that was what my dream was. So, if that wouldn't worked out, I would have had to probably go find a job flipping burgers or something. But I mean, if I wasn't racing, I'd probably honestly just take over my dad's business. He's a land surveyor, and probably just fall right into that. It's something I could see myself enjoying, just being more isolated, and being outdoors a lot, just stuff I enjoy. But yeah, I could see myself doing that.
So we kind of nailed it, Johnny. I said, well, hey, out there trying to catch
hunting salmon. He's just doing it with a rod instead of his claws.
That's it. Some riders struggling through the FMF PowerPoint. I'm loving these. I want to know, what the heck would Jordan Ashburn do if he wasn't racing dirt bikes?
If I wasn't GNCC racing, I'd probably be out in Tennessee on the farm, messing with some cows, and probably doing some excavating and work like that. I kind of enjoy doing that, and that's probably what I'll do after this chapter in life. So that's probably what I'll be doing, just on Tennessee at the farm, and go from there.
I love it. There you go, Jordan Ashburn working on the farm, and what the heck, why not one more? Our champ from 2024, Johnny Gerard. What the heck would you be doing? Man, these guys are struggling.
Chaos. Anarchy. Anarchy.
Johnny Gerard, what would our champ from this year be doing if he was not racing dirt bikes?
If I wasn't racing GNCC, I'd be moving dirt or cutting trees or something like that I've done my whole childhood, I guess you should say. My dad owned an excavation company, and one of my best friends owned a tree company. So, yeah, if I wasn't racing, I'd be doing something like that.
He'd be an arborist.
Craig, I really think you missed an opportunity there. You said that, is this our leaders on screen? Yep. Maybe not yet. Is it? Okay, it is. Leaders on screen. We'll get back to picking on Craig here in a minute. So, 198 of Liam Draper out front in the second place spot. Looks to still be Jordan Ashburn. He's moving some dirt today, and he's doing it in the second place spot. Then it is Lyndon Snodgrass, Mike Witkowski, still looks to be Ben Kelly, and Grant Davis rounding out the top 5, still running in that order. All right, so we're getting multiple shots here at once while we were away. These are coming in, and this is still the same running order. Looking like Jordan Ashburn was able to make up a little bit of ground there on Liam Draper in that shot, and not far behind him again, Lyndon Snodgrass. Then it was actually looking like Ben Kelly got around Mike Witkowski. Still sitting back there in the number 5 spot is Grant Davis, and these guys now popping out again. There we go. Liam Draper still leading the way, looking like he maybe stretched it out a little bit. We can see the rain falling a little heavier in this camera shot, guys. It's, man, it's that balance of trying to find traction. These guys are doing a great job of it today, but charging down the hill was Jordan Ashburn, and then Lyndon Snodgrass even a little bit closer in this camera shot here.
Can't say enough. Grant Davis, obviously your leader on the adjusted time. We've talked about it a couple of times this season. What with Josh Toth taking a win, Grant Davis getting an overall win, and Grant Davis been a regular up in that top 3. XC1 guy, Craig DeLong here, man. Would you guys just take this guy out, beat him with a stick? What do you got to do? This kid has been sensational this year.
We tried during the week.
Maybe that's the problem.
To be fair, you guys have beat up on him a good bit during the week. I mean, this kid has hit the ground and just keeps bouncing. It's like every time he crashes and he's supposedly hurt, he comes back stronger. It's broken ribs, it's a shoulder, it's this, it's that. And he's like, by the way, I was on the overall podium again 3 days after I broke my ribs. So the more they knock him around, I think maybe he just gets a little more of a chip on his shoulder.
I guess, and I'm good buddies with the Davis family. I grew up with Nick, and Johnny knows Nick. Nick has a little bit of, I don't want to say what I want to say.
I'm really curious what you're going to say.
He's got some farm strength. That's what I kind of wanted to say. And I'm going to say that Grant has a little bit of that in him, too. So that goes a long way in GNCC. And it looks like Grant, they all got around Lyndon. Looks like Lyndon's back of the train now.
Yep, so Ben Kelly up to that number 3 spot now. And Grant Davis up to 4th. So on screen, see a Liam Draper out front. Then it is Jordan Ashburn in 2nd on the right side of your screen. And then tucked in behind our running order is now up to the 3rd place spot, Ben Kelly, and chasing him, Grant Davis. To kind of sum that up, Craig, I believe it was 4-time county fair hay bale throwing champion, and that's not awesome. A joke.
That's awesome.
Nick Davis, Grant's older brother, was very proud of that stat and would actually. Oh, look at that! Grant Davis, just as we're talking about him on screen, goes down.
I think we lost Witkowski too, because there's BK. He's 3rd.
Yep.
Lyndon, and then Grant. I think I saw Witkowski farther back in the field here.
There we go. It looks almost looked like Snodgrass gave it back to Davis when he got back up on his wheels there. So Davis physically 4th, Ben Kelly up to 3rd, Snodgrass in 5th, and as you pointed out, we did lose Witkowski somewhere in that last camera shot. Flash ahead to the next section of racetrack, and it is still the 198 Ampro Yamaha out front of Liam Draper, but in hot pursuit, Jordan Ashburn. Jordan likes the mud, Jordan likes it slick. Jordan won in the dust 14 days ago, and today, again, interesting. Same 2 guys, completely polar opposite conditions, and these guys battled it right down to the final inches, separated by even maybe a little less than this. Obviously, Jordan Ashburn getting the upper hand in that exchange. Right now, Liam Draper holding it down in the number 1 spot. Then it's Ben Kelly in 3rd. There is Grant Davis in 4th, and there comes Liam Draper. Again, a phenomenal ride. Liam Draper. Lyndon Snodgrass. Daniel. Yes, we're struggling here. I am. That gives you a shot of just how far away that section of racetrack is. Told you guys, it's a couple miles away. It's not just it's right back in there. Most of the racetrack traverses these valleys that you see in between, but that Penton section way out there.
Best part of the track, Penton section.
I don't know. Never been.
Bike
only.
Yeah, bike only. Sorry, bro.
Yeah, sorry, I'm not part of the Cool Kid Club.
You're talking some big names going to race ATVs. Maybe you jump in the 3-hour next year and race a bike on Sunday, Johnny.
I mean, I've raced a bike twice this year.
Well, at Penton, you got to run the Penton section.
No, I don't need it.
He said no, thank you. I'm good.
I don't need it. Craig, see me ride a dirt bike. I am best off in the morning race. I don't need to be out there in that section. Could I make it through? Sure. Would it be pretty? I'd be the guy you'd be like, oh, and there's a guy making it look just how hard it actually is.
No.
That is not Liam Draper, but they are heading their way back. It'll be a little bit till we still have to see them at the 8-mile marker, and then again at the 9 in the Monster Mile before we see them here at this FMF PowerPoint. But again, this shows just how difficult this section of racetrack that our top pros make look so easy. We got rider down to the right. We got a rider stuck in the middle. Now we've got a rider stuck on the far left. And finally, somebody coming right up that left-hand line and making it look easy. You can see the mud fleas helping, giving a little push. Sometimes in life and in racing, you just need a little helping hand.
Mud fleas come in handy. Somebody help this poor lone mud flea out here.
This is a singular mud flea, not mud fleas.
I'll just do it. I'll do it myself. Oh, and then it falls over. It just, you feel for the guy.
At this point, this is where you just say, hey, man, do you want me to just ride it up?
Yeah.
Now we finally have a second mud flea, and he's going to help. Oh, no, just still one mud flea. We had a temporary offer of support, but they're going to get it up and make it all the way to the top.
He's going to make it. I believe it. Safety first at GNCC. And while we wait on our pro riders to enter mile marker number 10 here, we had a chance, speaking of safety, SOS Safety on Site. We got to do a rig tour and get a little behind the scenes from our Safety on Site team.
Dr. Mark Tanner here with SOS. We're going to take a look at the medical rig. All right, so this is our medical triage area. We've got stuff for splinting, washing out eyes, laceration repairs. We got some splints. We got some walking boots for any kind of fractures. We got crutches, knee splints, wrist splints, slings. We got injectables, laceration, sutures. So probably the most common injury would be lacerations, abrasions. So we're able to wash people out, sew up complex lacerations. Then you got fractures. We can reduce fractures. All right, let's go inside and check out the x-ray machine. This is the portable x-ray. It's the Micro C by Oxos Medical. We're able to do extremities, so wrists, elbows, shoulder, knee, ankles, feet. You know, we get very good images, very low radiation. We keep IVs for emergency hydration. This saves you a trip to the ER. So we can do this, and we can do it quickly within 15, 20 minutes, and we're done. So we have a handheld ultrasound machine. This is good for small things. We can look at ligament injuries. We can look for IV placement, and not strong enough to do like an abdominal exam. So our plan is to get a full strength ultrasound by the end of the year. Thanks for joining us. So in summary, SOS Safety on Site is a 501c3, so all donations are tax deductible. All care is free to the racers, so we need donations, we need sponsorship. If you're interested in contacting us, we're going to have a sheet. It's got a QR code for a donation site, and you can contact us if you want to be a supporter. Thanks for joining us, and see you at the races.
So there you go. Safety first at a GNCC. Always very, very fortunate to have SOS as a part of GNCC racing, no doubt. Craig, you can vouch for that, unfortunately, but I mean, when it's there and you can use it, it's very valuable.
Yeah, Dr. Tanner's he's been a big help this year, just with obviously with the last race with getting an X-ray done on my hand, and a couple times this year with some a Toradol shot for my ribs a couple weeks ago. So yeah, he's a big lifesaver, and yeah, definitely lucky to have him around.
Waiting on our leaders to check in here at the 8-mile marker. Grant Davis leading on the adjusted time. Johnny, what do you got out of that XC3?
Well, quick little rundown in the XC3 class. We saw Dakota DeVore on screen and speculated that he might be upwards of a minute back of Jack Walker. 2 minutes 56 seconds is the lead for Jack Walker with 2 laps complete. Then another 8 minutes and 18 seconds back to your third place rider. Leader on screen, there is Liam Draper. And oh my, look at that, folks. It has tightened up here at the front.
Jordan Ashburn going for it. And very, very similar to what we saw a couple of weeks ago. And to your point, Johnny, in complete opposite conditions, with it being a duster. And today the opposite, but hey, same two guys out front.
They stretched it too.
Yeah, unless our camera has paused, it has now opened up big time over our third place rider, which last we knew was that man right there, the 530 of Ben Kelly. Then it's the 922 of Grant Davis and Q Linden Snodgrass. Looks like now those two have opened up a little bit of gap over Linden Snodgrass. Or will it be a resurgence by Mike Wachowski? It is Snodgrass. Still there in the number 5 spot.
It's about that time where the race is, it's about to start here. The last final push for sure.
Craig DeLong says 2 hours and 15 minutes into this one, the race is now going to start. So that will bring up an interesting point. Our producer Adam Gordon does say it looks like it's about a 29-second gap physically from the leader on track, Liam Draper, back to the overall leader on corrected time, which is Grant Davis. So we'll see when they check in. We leave those kind of things up to the official timing and scoring system, but it was a 30-second gap at the completion of lap number 2 that Grant Davis had on corrected time. So 29 seconds physically. They're not usually right at that minute, but they're close. But we'll see what it is once they do the time correction. But he may have, Liam Draper and Jordan Ashburn might have made up a little bit of time on Grant Davis, because it tends to be kind of around that 40-45 second range between starts. So we'll see what it comes to be when they come in here with the white flag waving here in just a couple of minutes.
It'll be interesting. Grant Davis may find out, hey, if I'm not in first, he's going to start really hauling the mail. You know that man wants another overall.
Yeah, well, Dad, somebody needs to put on a pit board.
That's right, yeah.
You've got a championship today, but right back there, not too far behind him, Gus Rudin sitting in that 5th place overall spot and 2nd place in that XC2 class. The gap was 53 seconds at the completion of lap number 2. We'll see how that pans out. Can he get up a little closer, put a little more pressure on Grant Davis? You know, that's what his goals were today, to try to keep himself in this title hunt for one more round, heading into our final round of racing in about a month's time here.
And I think Thad Duvall's gotten around Cody Barnes there on screen.
Thad Duvall putting in a charge late here after missing our last round with injury. Looking good here today. Got himself up in a battle for a potential podium. Craig, here we are at the 8-mile marker. Obviously, we saw a lot of changes between here and the finish line in our ATV race yesterday. This is kind of where things started to unfold. We talked a little bit about, we've got the Monster Mile and we've got the FMF PowerPoint, some line options. You know, what are these riders facing from here to the finish line? This will be coming to the white flag, but even perhaps more pivotably next lap when they're, you know, really coming down to the finish line. What are they facing here?
Mainly it's just ATV trail, and I would assume that's just the slickness of the ATVs racing on it, and then the rain they had last night and this morning. So as far as I am aware, that I don't think there's really anything crazy other than the Monster Mile and the FMF PowerPoint that'll really be too much of an issue. And the lines, I mean, it's hard to say. So I guess the leaders are coming soon to the Monster Mile here.
And this was where things really started on. What was the word you used yesterday, Mikey?
Well, we may have put into the universe, I put into the universe, wanted some chaos, and, well, we got exactly what we wished for.
So anything you want to put out in the universe here
No,
today,
I think I'm going to shut up today and not do that. I got a nasty text from Bryson. No, I'm kidding. He didn't say
I was asked that you could perhaps use the word anarchy on today's.
For sure, yeah. We could get a little anarchy in there. Yeah, why not?
Yeah, Liam Draper on screen in the Monster Mile, 9 miles in, or at the 9-mile marker on lap number 3. You can see Jordan Ashburn just
thinking about that one.
He's being in those moon rocks, saying, hey, man, I'm willing to give up a couple seconds here. I do not want to hit the deck, and really tiptoeing his way through there. We were told it was 29 seconds, but that, folks, is not anything even remotely close to 29 seconds. Grant Davis on a charge, and now physically really starting to reel in the lead duo, and bringing with him, it looks like, the 530 of Ben Kelly there. Physically 4th, 3rd in that XC1, and 4th on corrected time in the overall as they run, it appears to be right now. We'll see when they check in here in just about another mile and a half. Now comes Lyndon Snodgrass in the number 5 spot.
Man.
Lapped riders abound.
Need a little more speed than that.
Mud Fleas are helping out. They're helping these guys through here. This was an absolute treacherous section in the final lap of our PM ATV race yesterday. Ultimately, what decided the win for Walker Fowler? He came in, that line to the left, you see there, Bryson Neal taking his crew pointing him around the safe line, and he lined up with the other lapped riders waiting his turn, and Walker Fowler bombed it down the middle. Oh, look at that. Mike Wachowski, handguard on the right side, bent way down, looking most certainly like he has had a crash or been on the ground in the last couple miles, explaining where he likely lost some times, guys.
Be interesting to see how this was shaping up when they check in through the checkered flag and what's looking to be a long 3-hour race here for them, with not very many laps, but nonetheless, been a good one so far.
Yeah, that's an interesting point, Mike. I mean, this is going to end up being one of our longer races here.
And we've not really had one that's run well over 3 hours in a while. But right on that cusp of, hey, it's going to be too short, it's going to be long. Evan Smith rolling through.
Strang, Gus.
So still holding on to second place in that XC2 class is Gus Reardon. And then looking back, nope, not quite yet. Craig had pointed out that perhaps Thad Duvall may have made the pass around Cody Barnes, and just on cue there is the 989 Red Bear Rocky Mountain ATVMC team rider of Thad Duvall, and just behind him the 99 Phoenix Racing Honda of Cody Barnes. He's wanting that podium position back. He is in pursuit of Thad Duvall.
Barnes out here battling, getting the nod for the ISDE team as well.
Now comes Stu Baylor.
Stu looks like he's struggling a little bit. It's easy to do out here.
Oof. Trouble's right there for Stu. Trying to get her fired back up, and oh no.
Uh-oh.
Where's Nick DeFeo? So that would be fifth place in the XC2 class. And then Jonathan Johnson just behind him. So that's 5th and 6th in XC2. And it looks like Stu Baylor has taken the goggles off.
That is a sigh of defeat right there.
Been a rough last couple of rounds for Stu Baylor. So, leaders on screen.
They're still very close.
Leaders checking out through the FMF PowerPoint. We'll continue to keep our eyes on Stu Baylor.
Wow, Grant's reeling him in.
And Grant right there with those leaders. So, hey, maybe he got the pit board. Said, you're losing a little bit of time. And sounds like we just got the report. Thank you, our producer, Adam Gordon, letting us know Stu Baylor able to get that machine fired back up and rolling, but certainly lost a lot of time right there.
I'll tell you what, if Grant has this momentum and he catches up to the back of these guys, I wouldn't be surprised if he has spots picked out, if he can get around them and maybe win this thing physically.
A physical overall. Now, there's something we certainly have not had happen from the XC2 class for the bikes, is a physical first place overall.
Well, a physical first place overall would be big, but I'll tell you guys, I'm looking at the points here, and I don't know these specific contracts, but a lot of times there are podium bonuses for top 3 overall in the series, with Grant Davis looking down the barrel of what could potentially be another overall win, and Stu Baylor not having a great day.
Second
overall for the season is up for grabs, and those guys right now, as they run, separated by, not as they run, but coming into the day, 15 points. Grant Baylor is in position to potentially win this thing overall. Grant Davis.
Sorry.
No, you don't need to apologize. I do. Grant Davis in position to win this thing overall would be 30 points. Stu Baylor would need to score at least 15 points to even leave here tied with Grant Davis. And to do that, that would put him in a position where he would need to finish. It would be 7th, 6th or better to do that, and right now he is well outside that position in the overall, so it could be potentially Grant Davis leaving here today in the 2nd place overall spot in the championship points. And if you say, well, what's it really matter? Johnny Gerard wrapped up this championship. That was surely Stu's goal. Again, still bonus money, still bragging rights, and look at this, Grant Davis. He has now tracked down your leaders, and he can physically see them. This kid right here is absolutely on a mission.
And I bet for Grant, the last, 2 hours of this race, he's been following XC1 guys riding their pace. And a day like today where it's wet, a little ruddy, kind of muddy, that's a big advantage, just being able to follow lines and just almost relax. So he's probably feeling a little fresh. You know, he's seeing the leaders, getting pit boards, he's closing in on them, so he's probably got a burst of adrenaline too, so that's probably why he's able to kind of close up on them. So
how pivotal would you say these next couple miles could be? I mean, if these guys are able to break Grant and get back away, it's going to make it a lot harder for him to know the pace. Yes, he's playing with house money in terms of the time correction, but if he can't see them, I would say if he gets to the rear wheel of Jordan Ashburn, like, there's no point in even trying to go beyond that. But again, this kid just doesn't seem to think about those kind of things. He's like, hey, I want to go to the front. Would we potentially see him try to make passes to physically win this thing, or do you think he just kind of sits back there on the rear wheel and collects his overall win?
Yeah, I mean, if I was him, I'd be trying to make a pass, that's for sure. I mean, you can't blame him. I mean, yeah, that would be, as far as I know, that'd be the first physical.
Well, because, I mean, the first
one was just this year.
First one was just this year. We've had two, and both of them have been on corrected time. One of those already being Grant Davis. Today looking like, again, he's still got to pass two very capable riders in that of our leader, Liam Draper, and our second-place rider of Jordan Ashburn. But I wonder, do those guys know Grant Davis is back there, or are their crews just kind of leaving them to fight it out amongst themselves, I wonder?
I would hope they would tell him, that's for sure. I mean, if I was in their shoes, I would hope that it's been announced. But I think right there, I saw Liam take a look over, so I want to say Liam probably got a good. Okay.
There you go. We're getting an update from OPAG, our producer Adam Gordon, saying Jordan Ashburn taking over the lead. He has gotten his way around Liam Draper. There we see our second-place rider in XC2, Gus Reardon, coming through. Just now checking in live timing and scoring, putting him into the sixth-place spot in the overall, 2 minutes and 9 seconds down from Grant Davis. Then comes Thad Duvall in that final podium place spot, but look at that, just behind him bringing the heat is Cody Barnes. Those guys separated by only 2.3 seconds. That is your battle for the final podium position in that XC2 Pro Lights class.
I want to say, like, with the longer laps like this, the track's not getting as beat up or as rough, so I want to say these guys are probably maybe a little bit fresher than normal, just because the track's a little smoother, it's not as tore up, not as deteriorated, so they might be feeling better for a last lap push. You know, maybe they got a little extra in the tank.
There we see Jonathan Johnson coming through, so that would be fifth and sixth place in that XC2 Pro Lights class. So those guys not far out of it. Still, you know, as dynamic as this racetrack is and the challenges we've seen some riders face, still potentially throwing their hat in the ring. And this is worth mentioning Nick DeFeo's first ride in that XC2 Pro Lights class. We've seen him pretty high up in the overall positions throughout the races. We've already seen him score in the top 10 overall. Right now running in that 9th spot on corrected time from that XC2 Pro Lights class, his first trip to the starting line in that class. Expecting to see him in that class full time next year. Now we see some other riders working their way through at the FMF. Oh, there it is. Rui Barbosa.
Yeah, Nick had a great start, too. So I saw him lined up on XC2. I said, how you feeling today? What do you think the expectation is? He's like, Mikey, I'm getting a top 3. He said, I'm grabbing the whole shot. I was like, boy, these guys are going to be gunning for you, kid. Like, good luck. And almost had the whole shot. Ended up in that 2 spot. But, yeah, he's hanging. He's doing well. And I think, realistically, Nick's got to feel good about a top 5 here today.
I did get a update just a little bit ago from J.D. Higgins, the team owner of that Red Bear Rocky Mountain ATV MC team that Stu Baylor and Rachel Archer and Thad Duvall ride for on the team race last weekend on the ATV. He said, hey, it was a thumb throttle, and also we were at a handicap because we were on a 300cc 2-stroke hybrid. So I think he's justifying the fact that he got beat by an old guy and a 12-year-old, but nonetheless, Thad Duvall looked great on that and looking great out there today, sitting in a podium position. First race back from injury. I think that's a very solid ride. Look at this. Jack Walker checking in. Still your XC3 leader and slotting in now into 13th place. Still, guys, in third, that was a heck of a ride. I mean, next level
on the
stuff.
125.
But 13th overall, still a very, very impressive ride here for him today. And still 1 lap of racing action left that he could maybe do some damage and move a little further up.
That's it. You know, going back to Grant Davis, the XC2, we're talking about him winning the overall today. XC2 championship on the line for him as well here today. Like, we've not really talked about that much with the overall on the line, but nonetheless.
I'm going to be honest with you, Mikey. The reason why I haven't brought that up is it's a little bit I don't know the rules on this.
Okay.
So, yes, he's well within position, but technically, when he finished the first lap, only 12 riders actually completed lap 1. He only needs a 14th place position to earn the points necessary. So I don't know. I think we have to wait till the checkered flag flies to determine that. But that said, yes, he is in position.
Yeah.
If he doesn't even need to finish where he is. I believe the number is 14 that he needs to finish in the XC2 class. Obviously leading, he's well ahead of the benchmark of where he needs to be. But still, if you're Gus Reardon, you've got 2 minutes and 9 seconds to make up to try to put some pressure on him. And I mean, these guys really have had it. Right now the points are obviously leaning very heavy towards Grant Davis, and he's been on fire here lately, but you can't say enough about Gus Reardon. Early in the year and throughout the year, he's been rock solid. And these two, I think my personal opinion is the reason why we're seeing Grant so high up in the overall. It was actually Gus earlier in the year that seemed to have the speed early, and I think Grant had to step up to match that if he wanted to battle for wins, and that's kind of where we've seen this early sprint speed come from out of Grant Davis.
Yeah.
Jordan Ashburn out front, the number 3 out of Cookeville, Tennessee, the Cookeville kid. He's out there. He likes the mud.
Grant Davis, second place.
Grant Davis has gotten around now. Liam Draper displacing him back to 3rd. And look at this, Jordan Ashburn, there's a little sense of urgency there.
Yeah.
He's trying to run from the kid, and the kid's saying, no, man, I want another overall win. I want to be the first person to ever do it twice. And if he can get his way around physically, Jordan Ashburn, the first rider ever in the history of the series to start on row 2 from that XC2 Pro Lights class and physically win an overall race. And I don't believe that's ever been done on the ATV side either. I know Walker Fowler did it a few times on corrected time. Brian Wolf did it a few times on corrected time. I don't believe, I'm not 100% certain, I don't believe anyone has ever physically won an overall from the XC2 class.
Be insane. Let's talk about Jordan Ashburn. We talk about LU XC1 guys are tough to pass. You're going to put up a fight. Ashburn seems like one that you guys have a lot of trouble with getting around.
Ooh, did you see that swap from Liam Draper? Oh, he just had a moment where he is definitely going to take a deep breath, let the heart rate come down a little bit. He got a little slideways, as our man Zach Herron would like to say, and got a little huckabuck. So Zach Herron and Jeff Hemmig, he got a slideways and a huckabuck, and now he's saying, all right, heart rate down. But on screen, Jordan Ashburn leading the way. The 922 of Grant Davis there in the number 2 spot. What a battle these two are having right now. Time correction, huge swing the way of Grant Davis. When we do the time correction, 2:23.52 to 2:24.41. So 8 minus 41, 33 seconds again.
Look at this.
He's all over him, yeah.
Yeah, Grant just absolutely applying the pressure right now.
Crazy. Ashburn is really tough to pass, to answer your question, Mikey. He's not that he's aggressive, but he puts the effort in to keep you behind him. So I don't think he'll give it up easy to Grant. That's for sure.
And actually, I got excited there. 49 seconds is the gap that Grant Davis has. I was doing my math backwards. I was subtracting instead of adding. Look at this. Grant Davis sideways, almost getting some pressure from behind from Liam Draper as they work their way into this section of the VP Fuels Pro Row. Grant Davis, man, you can see the elbows down. That's not form. He's tucked. He's trying to get aero. He's trying to make up some time on the big number 3 of Jordan Ashburn out front.
Both guys able to grab a little rehydration right there and get back to work.
I wonder if Liam has goggles on, because earlier he didn't have any
good
goggles.
Question.
So I wonder if he's struggling getting close to Grant.
Craig, I got to ask, we're seeing this battle on screen. You know that obviously, at least I believe, and I don't want to speak for anyone, I'm pretty certain the plan is for Grant Davis to stay in that XC2 class next year, again back on that Landers Racing KTM team. If he's able to get a second win here in 2024 overall and do it physically, I mean, how much do you think that might change even your mindset when you're racing next year, starting on row 1, knowing you got a guy that's not only done it once, he's done it in a variety of conditions. He did it in the dry, did it in the wet, and it's not done yet. He hasn't done it. But if he does it again today and has another opportunity to do it again a month from now, I mean, that may change the way the XC1 class has to ride early in these races, because it's always been historically up till 2024. Talk to the XC1 guys. Year one, they all say, we're not worried about those guys.
Yeah.
They're and it's not a disrespect thing. It's, hey, they're quick off the rip, but later in the race, once we get going, we're going to pull back away. Well, Josh Toth, obviously a former XC1 rider, kind of knew the trick. So he made it work for him, and then Grant Davis has caught on and said, well, I think I know how to make it work too. If he's able to do it more than once, I feel like it's like anything. The more you do something, the more it just becomes the confidence to just repeat it.
Yeah, I mean, and the thing is, like, Grant is a part of the Austrian brands, so he's able to ride with Johnny, myself, Ben Kelly, and he's able to see us and ride with us during the week. And half the time, I mean, I'm not the fastest at practice, so half the time Grant is faster than me. So he knows that during the week that he has the speed to be up front, right? So it takes time, or until it clicks in your head that you can do it. I mean, you got to bridge 30, 40 seconds or whatever it is that first couple miles, and then they're on the back of us anyway. So for right now, I think he's just trying to bide his time and look for a space to get around Jordan. I mean, obviously Grant's kind of not in the driver's seat, but he has the opportunity where he's got a little bit of gap there where he can go where he wants. So basically, he's just going kind of where Jordan doesn't, and sometimes that's an advantage.
Yeah, and you got Liam Draper sitting back there in the catbird seat as well in the number 3 spot, still in touch with that battle for the lead. But again, the big kind of caveat here is the time. Yeah. Grant Davis doesn't need to physically pass these guys. Yes. Frankly, he doesn't even really need to keep them in sight. Yeah. 49 seconds just behind Jordan Ashburn was the gap. So even if he gives up, I mean, he can let Jordan Ashburn get several turns and quite a ways out in front of him, still win this on corrected time. But that's surely not something he's thinking about right now. What he's thinking about is, I want to make the pass. I want to get out front. One thing I want to throw out there, Grant's a kid.
That's what I was about to say.
I shouldn't say. Grant is a young man that I've seen a big change in this year. And Craig, you can speak to this. And you mentioned, the group that trains together and rides together. Last spring, Grant was the guy that was in the morning, I don't want to be here. Like, I'm not being negative, but, I just kind of grumpy. I don't want to be here. This sucks. It's hot. The track's rough. I just want to go home. I don't want to do this. It's hard. On bicycle rides was, frankly, typically the one complaining. Just wanted to get done. Wanted to get back and play Xbox. I'm sure you noticed it this year. A big change. Something happened when he got to the training camp this spring, and this winter, frankly, and he was like, hey, this is not only my job, but this is a cool opportunity for me to be here, and I'm going to embrace it. And he was, instead, when other guys were negative, he was the one saying, hey, man, it could be worse. We're riding dirt bikes and getting paid to do it. Like, let's enjoy this. And the results have just come massively to him this year.
Yeah, he's made a big leap for sure, because last year, I remember Grant was honestly, because Caleb had 2 groups last year, he was with the amateur kids in the wintertime. Like, he wasn't even with like Johnny, myself, and some of the other, like Ryder, the XC2 guy at the time. So he was kind of in a different group, and then obviously this year he's made a switch and has made a drastic improvement. So I mean, he's had the speed. It's just trying to smooth that speed out into where he can, duplicate it every race and be up front. So.
And he does right now seem to have that grittiness that we talk about so much that you just can't teach. A kid that's got his shoulder basically taped to himself due to an injury. He's got broken ribs, and people are telling him, like, hey, man, you're in a good shot. Just kind of keep yourself in the fight. And he's like, no, I'm going out to win. Yeah. That's gritty.
Oh, yeah. You definitely can't be taught that. That's for sure.
Well, Grant Davis is your overall leader here on adjusted time, but he is knocking on the door of being the overall leader physically. Can he make some more GNCC history here in 2024? Jordan Ashburn trying to go back-to-back as far as the XC1 is concerned. There they go. Ashburn, Grant Davis, 1 and 2 right now out in this one here at the Wiseco. John Penton, how is it all going to shape up We'll be right back here in just a moment with more from the John Penton GNCC.
I'm Jordan Ashburn, and you're watching GNCC Live at RacerTV.com.
Unleash aggression, reliability, and premium quality with Kenda tires. Delivering exceptional performance on all types of vehicles. Automotive, ATVs, UTVs, motorcycles, bicycles, trailers, lawn and garden, and even golf. Trust Kenda tires to guide you on your next adventure. Kenda, designed for your journey.
Born of family values and a homegrown work ethic, Cometic Gasket seals your machine so you can focus on the finish line. Cometic Gaskets are the competitive standard for racers who demand the very best inside their engine. Cometic Gaskets are always constructed from superior materials designed to perform in the most demanding environments. Whether it's a championship on the line or a day in the dirt with friends, professionals and enthusiasts alike depend on Cometic. Cometic Gasket, sealing championships since 1989.
On Track School is an online private school catering to some of the top athletes in the world. We offer a flexible schedule for students that are chasing their dreams and always on the go. We are an accredited K-12 school where students can graduate with a diploma. Scan the QR code or call us to book an appointment with one of our learning coaches to discuss your students' next steps.
We've been there since the very beginning.
20 laps, the main event, the mud, the blood, the beer.
Organizing the industry and building champions. "100 years of defending your rights to ride into the future."
Community, family, teamwork. It's what we have stood on for over a decade.
Hauling might be what we do at the surface, but it's much deeper than that, because what you need matters. When you need a haul, give us a call at 724-852-4488. For 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and 365 days a year, we at JD Enterprises are prepared to serve you.
It takes commitment, passion, and endurance to make something great. Made by champions, for champions.
And welcome back to GNCC Live. Mikey Wayne's here alongside Craig DeLong, Johnny Gallagher, Zach Herron, Jackson Burrell, and Rodney Tallman's here. We're going to get Rodney Tallman in here to at least say hello here in a little bit. Before we jump back into the racing action, waiting on some of our pro riders come through some sections. We talk about safety first at all GNCCs. We highlighted the SOS, safety on site. Well, we've also got the Kurt Caselli safety unit, and our very own Zach Herron gives us the rundown.
If you've been around the GNCC racing circuit, you may have seen this machine crossing the track or making its way through the pits. This is the Kurt Caselli Safety Unit. The Kurt Caselli Foundation was founded after the legendary off-road racer tragically passed away in 2013. But the goal of the foundation is simple, to provide top-notch medical equipment and safety to the off-road racing community. Now, we've been lucky enough to have this brand new Polaris side-by-side given to the GNCC Racing Nation, and it has been equipped with equipment to help not only help riders get off the track quicker, but get them to safety, the SOS medical crew, as quickly as possible. We're extremely fortunate to be able to partner with the Kurt Caselli Foundation year after year, and if you guys are interested in learning more information or donating yourself, you can go to kurtcaselli.com and make your donation.
Well equipped.
It is well equipped. Yes, the safety unit, absolutely well equipped, no doubt. And then while we wait on our leaders to come through here, this next section, we also wanted to take a look. Sorry about that, folks. Wanted to take a look at our 2023 highlights from the John Penton GNCC, which, quite frankly, were a lot like this year's. Very, very muddy. Cleared out a little bit on Sunday for you guys. Actually, I think you were kicking up some dust in this one, boys. Craig, how'd you do this day?
Who's that guy out front there? Or was he out front? What happened? Why'd everybody blow his doors off?
I went from first to like 7th and 30 yards.
Ricky Russell out front leading the way early on in this one, and you see a lot of mud here today. It was similar conditions, but actually probably even worse. There we see
worse, yeah.
Jordan Ashburn. There we see Josh Strang. There's our little buddy Craig DeLong there. He's using those short little 21-inch inseams. And there is Stu Baylor as well coming through here in our 2023 look back. Man, I think the course was treacherous, just in a different way a year ago here today.
Had some gnarly stuff. And that hill right there was a big rock ledge. It was, man, you couldn't even walk up it. It was so steep.
Jordan Ashburn out front leading the way. Hot in pursuit was Stu Baylor on that then KTM machine, making the switch obviously to Kawasaki. Jordan Ashburn to the factory gas team, so you can see how quickly things change. But it was Jordan Ashburn grabbing the win, fist in the air. Stu Baylor just inches behind, and absolutely Johnny Girard there in the number 3 spot. Look at that, Stu Baylor has the adult beverage up there on the podium with him, making sure he keeps himself rehydrated right after the race.
Yeah, great win for Jordan Ashburn. And, man, we go back this time last year, he was winning the John Penton and poised here at least for the XC1. But it is Grant Davis all over that rear wheel, physically in the number 2 spot, trying to look for some opportunity and maybe some real estate to get around Jordan Ashburn and maybe, just maybe, be the first XC2 rider ever to take an overall physically on the racetrack.
Liam's still right there. They're all really close, so it could go either way. Maybe Grant and Jordan, they could get together, and Liam could get by both of them.
Grant's really sitting there kind of in the roost zone. You know, Jordan is hard on the throttle right now. It's interesting to see how close Grant is staying, but again, we can't see the conditions down in the wood there. Maybe it's a little drier than we think.
Right through there where they're at right now, they're at a base of a hill. It's while they're going up and down. But pretty off-camber, kind of slick, so it seems like they got a good rut built in there. But, yeah, it's definitely a slick spot of the track. I think they're heading back towards the big field there.
Just watching Grant Davis, boy, though, 3 of them very, very close right there. Ashburn, Grant Davis, Liam Draper, 1, 2, and 3. Do you ever think, Johnny, looking back over the years, we talk, an XC2 rider's never won an overall. And then Josh Toth does it down in Georgia this year. Grant Davis doing it earlier this year. You ever think you'd be sitting here in one season talking about maybe 3 guys or three times this happening?
No, I can't say that I ever thought that would happen. I mean, but there's been so many times where we're so close
yes.
over the years. I mean, going way, way, way back. To my recollection, the first to very nearly do it was Thad Duvall back in the day when David Knight was able to edge him out at Snowshoe on the final lap there. And then it seemed like it was, every year, every few races even, we'd talk about it early. And there were a few that came down to the final lap of, is he going to do it? Is he going to be close? And we did see some XC2 riders landing on the overall podium. But yeah, 2 times, potentially a third in 1 year, not something I would have anticipated coming into this season. A lot of people, looking at it as, maybe this XC2 class is just really that competitive this year, and it's pushing these guys. And I think that's, like we talked about earlier, I mean, since the kind of the drop of the hat this year, it's been Gus Reardon and also Grant Davis. Throw Josh Toth in the mix there, a seasoned former XC1 rider that knows the pace. The conditions just lined up to him where he is such a good technical rider there in Georgia. And he really was, just kind of riding, again, within himself. Didn't really look like he was pushing and kind of made it look easy that day. But now we're seeing, all-out sprints and Grant Davis just continuing to push. And I can't say that I anticipated it prior to a few weeks ago. But then again, it becomes a thing where, once it happens once, why couldn't it happen again?
Yeah.
And again, not a guy that's going to be moving to XC1 next year. As far as we know, will still be back.
How old is Grant?
18.
18.
He is 18? Okay. I was thinking younger than that, but man. That just means I'm getting old because he was little whippersnapper.
He was on 65.
Exactly,
yeah,
he was on
exactly.
65s when I started, so that just means Mikey's getting old, that's all.
Talking about some younger riders and some amateur riders that have worked their way up into the top 20 overall, we've actually got 4 of them at the completion of lap number 3. Leading the way from that 250A class, it is Mikey DeLosa out of Gillette, Pennsylvania, I believe on that AmPro Yamaha there in the 16th place overall. And then Cole Whitmer, we saw him having a little bit of struggle right here on screen at the FMF PowerPoint, now leading the Open A class, but with a 16-second lead over Hunter Smith, who sits there in the 19th spot overall and 3rd overall amateur. And then rounding out the top 20 overall, it is your 4-stroke A lights leader, Chase Landers. So those are 4 guys that are kind of all up in the mix. Looking at a lapse time, pretty close actually for potentially Chase Landers to get up in there and get himself on that overall amateur podium. So a lot of guys throwing their head in the mix for that, and a lot of good racing action out on the track. Will Sevenpiper back there as well, just behind Landers in the 5th place spot in that amateur overall, and just outside the top 20 overall, sitting in 21st.
Waiting on the leaders at the FMF PowerPoint mile marker number 10, getting down to the nitty-gritty, and this one is going to run long. We are 2 hours and 53 minutes into this one. And, we will have the Penton section before this as well. So, yeah, definitely going to be running well over the 3-hour mark.
Yeah, this could be one of the longer races in recent memory. Again, just working out that way with what we've seen is Grant Davis did dip below that 48-minute mark again last lap with a 47:49. Still, the fastest lap was his first lap, and I believe it was 47. I don't remember exactly, but 47:20, 47:30, something like that. On screen, there are your top 3 physically as they run out front. The big number 3 of Jordan Ashburn leading the way. Hot in pursuit, Grant Davis with that minute-adjusted time. 49 seconds was his lead when they checked in with 3 laps complete. Now he's maybe even a little bit closer to Ashburn. So again, playing with house money there. He's got that time gap, but it almost looks like he wants to get it up in there. Maybe try to run it in on Ashburn and make a pass. He wants to be the first guy to physically cross the line first from that XC2 Pro Lights. And then lurking in the background, waiting to make his pounce there is the 198 of Liam Draper. Led so much of this race throughout the middle part of this, and sitting back there in that third place spot overall. Dust.
Oh, yeah, there it is.
Dust kicking up.
Good job, Grant. Yeah, Liam just keeping pace with those guys. Liam, another guy, kind of playing, I think it was you earlier, Craig, talking about sort of not playing with house money, but for lack of a better term, sort of playing with house money. Liam Draper these last few rounds. The expectation is next season, right? So let's just feel it out here at the end of the year. So kind of loose and relaxed allows him to just kind of go out there and do what he wants. But, man, he has looked good these first 3 rounds he's racing on the big bike.
Yeah, he rides that 450 really well. I get to ride with Liam during the week. We live 5 minutes from each other, so we practice, a couple times a week. So I've been able to see it firsthand during the week, and even up before he came back at the buckwheat. I knew he was going to be competitive and strong. So it's good to see him, up front in the battle. And, I'm excited. I'm glad to see him, having good rides and being up front. So
ran into some of his crew at the Charlotte SMX, and they were talking about basically how once he started riding that 450, obviously you're a 2023 XC2 champ, riding that Impro Yamaha 250 quite well, and once he got on the 450, they said almost immediately, even in completely stock trim, he was like, hey guys, this is the bike for me. I feel so comfortable on this thing. I can just ride it so much easier, so much less effort. You ride with him a lot, and I think he's been racing it at the sprints for over a year now, and really getting comfortable on that. And as soon as that 2024 model was released and he switched to it, results improved, he got comfortable. How much of that happens sometimes with a bike switch where it can go one way or it can go the other? You whether it's a new model of the same bike or a completely new bike, sometimes it just clicks and sometimes it doesn't.
Well, and I think a lot for Liam, not that it was a perfect storm, but when he had his injury and he sat out a little bit, I think he was able to kind of sit back and regroup and try to kind of change his mindset, because the XC2 title was kind of over at that point, right? He knew he was going to move up, so he could refocus and say, all right, well, I got 4 races of moving up to XC1, and I got to figure it out and just put time in and, do the laps. So I think that was a big thing for him, and the bike, he rides it really well. So he's always been, I don't think he really rode a 350 much, but his riding style has always kind of been for a bigger bike. He's got a trials background, so he's kind of, I don't want to say was made for it, but he rides it really well. And I know a lot of people say that, but just being able to watch him during the week, he really does ride it well.
And the interesting thing in talking with Derek, his mechanic, I believe is his mechanic. I know one of the M-Pro guys at Charlotte. He was saying that as a mechanic, these guys take pride in their craftsmanship. They put a lot of time and energy into these bikes, and it almost seemed frustrating, not frustrating, but baffling for him. He's got this, hand tweaked, every little piece and part massaged of this 250 to make it exactly the way he wants it, and they take this new 2024 450 out of the box. They don't do it. He was running stock suspension, I believe a stock exhaust. Now they of course have put those bits on and made the bike even better, but in the beginning he was like, hey man, this thing is so good out of the box. I feel so comfortable. As a mechanic, he was kind of always basically what he was saying is, it's kind of frustrating, man. We really take our role in this seriously, and then somebody just meshes, whether the bike's that good or it just matches his style, right out of the box, hey man, this is it. We didn't do anything to it. It doesn't have graphics. It doesn't have all our cool go fast light parts and all that. We don't have custom axles and all this stuff for more flex. This is the way you can go buy one off the showroom floor, and this guy's like, this is better than my race bike. It's interesting how that works, and we've seen it across multiple brands, multiple different machines, where sometimes a certain rider and a certain machine just boom, they just click, and that may be very well the case here with Liam Draper in this 2024 YZ450. He really seems to be riding it well and just super smooth.
Yeah, I mean, I can kind of vouch for it, because when I was in XC2 and I realized that I wasn't going to defend my championship, I started riding my 350 all the time, and I was like, man, this is I don't even want to ride my 250 anymore. So I don't want to say that's what Liam was kind of going through, but speaking from my past experience, that's exactly 100% what I was dealing with. Like I'm like, I don't even want to ride my 250.
Well, and speak a little bit about how you do have to ride those bikes differently. You talked about the weight, but it's more than that. There's the power delivery. There's so many facets to those machines and how you ride them differently. When you're practicing on one, kind of preparing yourself to make that next step, and then you have to step, I don't want to say step back, but step onto a machine that you'd previously been comfortable with. How much do you have to change your mindset from during the week to race day to do that?
I wouldn't say it's more of a mindset. Honestly, it's more of like just different. Like I know when I was on a 250F and going back and forth, I struggle with I liked having that extra power. Like going, like perfect example today, it's slick. Like you can shift up, you can ride third gear and lug it better. Where 250F, you don't have that luxury. You have to kind of be in the higher rev. So I like that better than I grew up kind of not being a super aggressive, revving kind of guy. So I like that more power. So and I think Liam's kind of the same way. So yeah, it's just kind of what I think.
Well, yeah, I mean, it seems to be panning out for him right now, and obviously you were able to get that championship one in both the XC2 and XC1 class on your way up through and still at the top of the sport. Maybe not exactly what you were looking for here so far in 2024, but it sounds like, again, another opportunity to kind of put one last stamp on it coming up here in about a month at Ironman. But Liam Draper looking to do the same, not able to back up that championship due to some not great results and then an injury coming back, and ever since joining the 61 class has just really been a force at the front. So it changes scenery, change of mindset, things can change quickly.
It's big, yeah, more than you think.
So now waiting on the leaders to come through the FMF PowerPoint as they wrapped up with the Penton section. And we're looking for Jordan Ashburn and then Grant Davis.
We should still grab him at that 8-mile marker again, and then also at the Monster Mile as well. We're just kind of keeping an eye on this because this seems to be the spot where all the action's at.
Good point. So yeah, shout out to the viewers for being patient with us here as we wait to get the shot of our leaders coming through, of course, the Monster Mile just before this. But they got a lot of action here through the FMF PowerPoint.
I think that may be our 20th place overall rider, the 27. No, is that Chase Lander? No, it wouldn't have that color background. Thought that was his number, but or 254.
254.
Yep, 217. That's an XC3 rider there. Tyler Shields, I believe he was our whole shot winner there in that XC3 class, currently running in the number 6 spot. Breaking that one down is still Jack Walker out front. He has actually stretched that lead out even more. 4 minutes, 37 seconds now over Dakota DeVore in the number 2 spot. And then Rayleigh Messer out of Beaver Dam, Kentucky, 12 minutes, 39 seconds back in the number 3 spot. Those big gaps there in that XC3 class. But making that little 125 sing out front, Jack Walker running inside the top 20 overall, inside the top 15 overall with 3 laps complete. I believe it was 13th place position. And having an opportunity to move forward from there. Yes, 13th place overall is Jack Walker out of Morrisonville, Illinois, from that FMF XC3 125 class. We actually had a I think it was 150 machine, but nonetheless a little 2-stroke win the morning race overall. Rider out of the 150B class. Yeah,
right. Yeah.
Grabbed the overall lead. Checked the GNCC Instagram. Got a picture of him and he gets some love there. Slick conditions, and man, he was just riding the wheels off that thing to get himself a overall morning victory there. Pretty cool to see.
Yeah, very cool. If I'm not mistaken, I think he got a podium a couple of weeks ago. And then grabs the overall today, Caden Stats. So congratulations to him on that heck of a ride.
Also wrapping up the championship in that WXC this morning was Rachel Archer for that Red Bear Rocky Mountain ATV MC team. team. Great ride for her. She revved that thing to the moon coming across the line. Been a bit of a struggle for her in a number of races. Coming in, had a big points lead early in the season, and then Brandy Richards caught fire. And those two had a great camaraderie on the podium, kind of congratulating each other on good rides and a good season. And Brandy Richards saying, hey, I'm coming back GNCC racing again next year, and I want to give Rachel a run for her money. And then some fresh life breathed into the WXC class out there this morning with
Ellie Winland
on the podium. Also, Addie Harris. A lot of the women amateur riders that were at the top of the class moving up to that WXC class. And yes, Ellie Winland on the podium, first race in WXC. Absolutely terrible conditions, but those girls toughing it out, and it was very cool to see for sure.
Yes, very, very. Becca had to be stoked too for, like when I started, we'd have on a good day 6-7 WXC riders. Sometimes we would have 3 or 4. And I remember Becca at one time on the podium kind of like, hey, ladies, don't be scared. Come race with us. And that had to warm her heart to just see how many riders there are. And we were missing a lot today as well.
And it was interesting the way that all progressed. We got a minute here, but, there was a time where that WXC class, before it was called WXC, was huge. There was, 20, 30-plus riders on that row back in 2012, 2013. And then you had this group of girls, and there's so many names in it, you don't want to leave anybody out, but Taylor Jones, Becca Sheets, Mackenzie Tricker, obviously before that, Casey Martinez, Maria Forsberg. These girls were just so dominant. They were making some of these other girls seem like, hey, I can't compete with these girls. These girls are beating, A-class riders at their local races and mixing it up in the overalls in the pro classes. Man, I just don't think this is for me. And there was this transition. And then a lot of these girls got together and said, we need to foster these younger girls and teach them that, hey, keep fighting. There was a time where, Becca Sheets, who was here with us today, said her first women's race, she got lapped by Maria Forsberg.
Oh, my goodness.
The first time she ever raced at GNCC, despite being a top motocross racer in her own right for many years, it was just a new bag of tricks for her. And she put her nose. She said, hey, I can be good at this. I'm going to keep fighting. And that's what you see a lot of these girls. You see Allie Spurgeon and Taylor Jones working with the women's riding clinics. You see Rachel Archer, Rachel Goodish, all these girls putting in the time. Mackenzie Tricker, they kind of really mentor these young girls, and we have a very strong group of young girls racing in GNCC right now. But out front, we've got a very strong young man in the form of Jordan Ashburn leading the way, and just behind him, Grant Davis. Look at this. Davis up the gut trying to get a run, but he's not able to get around Jordan Ashburn. He's definitely wanting to take over that top spot for sure, physically.
Yeah.
And that was Draper there right behind him still. So top three still glued together. You can see a couple of our GNCC Mud Fleas and crew members making sure those guys get through it. Now they're going to run up there to try to celebrate on the podium with them.
So, love to see that from Grant Davis, choosing a different line right there, going for it, trying to make a move. Just unable to make it stick. So Ashburn holding them off for the moment. Craig, you want to keep hanging?
I think I'm going to dip out and watch
Craig's looking his way out the back.
I know, he's looking in the back. He's looking at Rodney Tomlin down there.
Thank you for your time, Craig. We appreciate you coming in today. We'll look forward to having you back on the track here in about 4 weeks' time. So we appreciate all the insight today. You did a great job, and we'll let you go down, maybe do some fist bumps at the finish line, and congratulate everybody as they come. Don't just be careful. I think we'll bring our man Rodney Tomlin in here, see if he wants to help us finish out the show.
Well, thanks for having me. We'll see you guys in a different point of view.
I like it. There you go. Thanks, Craig.
Thanks, Craig. Appreciate it. All right, on screen.
Send him down here.
There is Liam Draper. He is by there in the number 3 spot. Leading the way, it's still Jordan Ashburn. Looking across to the other side, here comes Ben Kelly. That is our 4th place rider, we do believe. Put in a charge, got up to 3rd there for a moment, and then Grant Davis turned on the afterburners, and Grant pushing really made Jordan Ashburn and also Liam Draper pick up the pace. Ben Kelly still sitting back there in the number 4 spot, and these guys are sprinting their way towards the final miles to the finish line. There's Toby Cleveland. He's actually a lap down from our XC2 Pro Lights class, but next rider we see through this shot should be the 530 of Ben Kelly, and sitting in the number 4 spot. So good ride for him here today. Obviously, as they run, would be on the XC1 podium, but the overall podium looking like it's going to look a little different.
Yes, that is correct. We are waiting to see as we welcome into the booth. There goes Lyndon Snodgrass rolling through the Monster Energy Monster Mile as we welcome into the booth longtime GNCC legend. I'll throw it out there. Why not? Announcer Rodney Tomlin. Rodney, how the heck are you, man?
Doing great, man. Enjoying a muddy race, something that at the beginning of the week, I saw the forecast around here wondering what it was going to be like with Helena and everything, and at the same time thinking, man, it really stinks that when GNCC comes to town, it looks like we're going to have some mud. But at the same time, in this area, we're so dry, and I think anybody that's from around here in the eastern United States knows how dry things are. Johnny, we got something happening.
Look at this. This is the battle for the lead physically. Grant Davis now really putting the pressure on, trying to get up next to Jordan Ashburn. They are side by side, as our man Bjorn Hamrick used to say, wheel to wheel. And look at this. Grant Davis dive bombs up the inside, but Jordan Ashburn closes the door. You ask yourself, how bad does Grant Davis want to physically win an overall? Watch the screen, folks.
And not only that, how bad does, obviously, right now Jordan Ashburn knows, hey, I don't have the overall, but this is
that shows Jordan's grit. Absolutely, he knows he physically likely can't stretch out enough of the gap by the finish line, but he's not just going to pull over and let the kid by. He's going to say, hey, you want to make history? You're coming through possibly the toughest guy ever to do it.
And at the same time, this might be an opportunity for Grant to make that mistake that does put that distance back between he and Jordan on the clock. So this is a good opportunity for Jordan to do exactly what he's doing, keep fighting and hopefully pushing Grant into that mistake. Right now, like you said, Grant doesn't have to do this. This is all about the pride thing, and both of those guys have a lot. Jordan may be thinking about it from a couple different directions other than just the pride aspect of it too, though.
Sure, grittiness on display. That's what they're seeing out of both of these riders. And just a few seconds back, the 198 of Liam Draper still very much in this fight. Folks, this is it, the final wood section. Who will emerge first? Will it be the big number 3 of Jordan Ashburn? Will it be the 922 of Grant Davis? We kind of know. We don't give away wins before they happen, but Grant Davis has time very, very, very much on his side. But can he physically make the pass, or is Jordan Ashburn going to hold him off?
So obviously it looks like Grant Davis going to make some more history this year in position to take that overall win. But again, as you said, Johnny, can he do it physically on the track? That's the big question right here. Boy, this feels a lot like yesterday, just kind of waiting from the Rodney Tomlin playbook with bated breath for these guys to check in through the finish line.
Here they come. They should be coming down the final stretches right now. We'll watch that little opening in the trees. Who will it be? Will it be the number 3, the big gas of Jordan Ashburn, or will it be the 922? And it is
Ashburn. Yep. Ashburn out in front. So there it is. Jordan Ashburn, a little shake of the wrist right there. Said, man, kid, you made me earn that one. As Grant Davis gets some champagne showers, and regardless, puts his name in the history books now as look at that. Now that's a beautiful sight. Yeah. This is Jordan's former mechanic, now the mechanic for Grant Davis right here. That's a picture.
And this is a dual celebration for Grant Davis. This is an overall win and an XC2 championship. This puts the icing on the cake. He is your 2024 XC2 national champion. Jordan Davis Jordan Ashburn with a win in XC1. Big day for him. You know he's probably happy with that, but at the same time, he's looking at that kid next to him saying, hey, man, could you not steal my thunder? I really look at. You could see him congratulating him. We got the silly string going. We got the champagne, and Grant Davis is your XC2 champion and your overall winner here at the John Penton GNCC.
What a fight by Jordan Ashburn. It was interesting to me. We had Craig DeLong in here, obviously, and I said, man, all you guys we watch on screen, it's very difficult for anyone to make a pass on any of you. I said, but Ashburn especially, a very difficult rider to pass. And I looked at the body language of Craig DeLong just like, yeah, no, you're not wrong. It's absolutely true. So,
and none of you guys have ever said Jordan's a dirty rider.
No, not at all.
He knows where you're at. He listens for the sound of your bike. Cagey. He's a cagey veteran.
That's a good point. Yeah.
Okay, Liam Draper has checked in now in the number 3 spot, 8 seconds back, and 3rd place overall. 2nd place in that XC2. We'll wait and we'll watch. Will it be Ben Kelly?
Ben Kelly just checked in right there.
Ben Kelly has checked in. So that is 3rd place in XC1 and 4th place overall. 1 minute, 28 seconds back of Liam Draper. Great ride for Ben Kelly today. And I believe we've got a couple more XC2 podium positions, but it looks like our top 3 overall are locked in. Grant Davis, Jordan Ashburn, Liam Draper.
And man, long race, Johnny. This one about, I think, 3 hours, 10 minutes, right in that ballpark.
3 hours, 11 minutes, and 4 seconds for Grant Davis.
Long one.
And he takes the win by 56 seconds. As close as you can get to making it a minute.
Mercy sakes. So as much as things change, Rodney, they stay the same, man.
They do. Exactly. And, I was talking.
Lyndon Snodgrass there in the number 4 spot in XC1.
I was talking with some folks over in the pits a little bit ago about my first experience at a GNCC, which was a mud race in Parkersburg, West Virginia. And the finish, one of the things that probably impressed me the most was the finish and how the race unfolded and the whole timing aspect of everything and how it all worked together and what happened in the end whenever you sat there and like I was waiting with bated breath just to see what's going to happen next and what's going to change it or what could change it. And
Wachowski.
Just an exciting sport to watch, and these finishes, they don't get any better than this. I mean, and how many times have we said over the years? How many times have I made the statement, history being made, and we've seen history made here today.
Yes, we did, and we have Zach Herron standing by with our overall winner here today and XC2 champion Grant Davis.
You said it, Mikey. We're here with your overall winner, your XC2 champ. Let's hear it for Grant Davis. The crowd going crazy, silly string flying everywhere, man. How good does it feel, first of all, to get the overall win? I mean, we could tell how bad you physically wanted to be in that number 1 spot, but what a statement. Only the 3rd time in history and the first one to do it twice. How good does that feel?
It's honestly amazing. I got off to a 3rd place start and then got into the lead in the Penton section and started picking off the XC1 guys one by one, and then I got stuck on a hill out there and lost all the passes I made up. And I'm like, I gotta go. So I started picking them off again, and then Liam let me by that last lap, and I got behind Jordan, and I was doing everything I physically could, but hey, it's still awesome to come away with my XC2 championship at 19 years old now, and winning 2 overalls this year is pretty sick.
Hey, without a doubt, man. Now, we know Pops was maybe saying, hey, you don't have to go for the win today. You can just try to get the title. That's not the way Grant Davis rolls, is it?
No, definitely not.
Hey, well, clearly it pays off, man. You were able to not only get the championship, but get the win as well. You've got a whole group behind you, man, a whole group not only here on site, but behind you during the week helping you out. Who's all in your corner? Who helped you get to where you are right now?
FMF KTM Factory Racing Team. Landers, Chris, everything he's done for me this year. My mechanic, Andy, has this bike absolutely dialed every weekend. Moose Racing, Alpine Star, X-Brand Goggles. My whole family, my mom and dad, I can't thank them enough. My sister for always helping me. Timmy, Caleb Russell for training me this year, Stephen Denise Hatch, and everybody else I forgot.
That's Grant Davis, your overall winner there in the XC2 class. The number 1 plate. Make sure you zoom in on that, Mike. Get that. The big number 1. Grant Davis gets the job done today.
All right, there you go. Grant Davis, your overall winner here today, clinching that XC2 title.
One thing that I can say in observance of this race and a lot of the races, it's utterly amazing to me at the levels at which people can rise in some of the most adverse conditions, especially when they're already on a roll, already on a high. You come into an event like this and, you got somebody that's got something on the plate like what Grant had coming into this race with the championship on the line, adverse conditions. Anything can go wrong out there, but the flip side of that happened. Everything that could go right went right for him today, and that's the heart of a true champion. That's somebody that comes out with a positive mindset, and he wasn't going to let anything stop him today.
He was on a mission. He got the job done, and getting the win in XC1 today and 2nd overall, we've got Jordan Ashburn.
Yeah, thanks, guys. I'm down here with Jordan Ashburn. Jordan, you took the win in the XC1 class. You're 2nd on the overall. Take us through your day.
Yeah, my hat's a little big here, but yeah. Man, gnarly day out there, super physical track, got really slippery, and yeah, I don't know. I didn't get a good start today, and kind of had to try to work my way through the pack, and it was quite a lot tougher to pass than I thought it would be, and kind of got up toward the front, man, and just was second, and then made a pass there. And there, Liam kind of we trying to get off and going away from Grant here, and I just pushed so hard the last lap to try not to let him get around me, and yeah, here we are, P2 overall for the day. But man, congrats to Grant. He had a good ride today.
Yeah, Jordan, you're up here in the John Penton, the second year in a row. You've been the force to reckon with here, man. What's the secret of this John Penton track?
I don't know. I really just like the terrain here. Everybody hates it, but it's just flowy, it's slippery, it's technical no matter what kind of conditions you have, whether it's wet or dry. And I don't know. I like conditions like that. And, yeah, I wanted to try to come be on the podium today, and a win is what we wanted. And, hey, we ended up on top, and I'm super happy. Couldn't be more thankful. And, yeah, I'd like to thank my Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ, and my whole family for being here. Tanner's here this weekend. Barry, Denny's here. Amy at home. Just thanks to the whole Coastal team and Bicon. And, man, couldn't be thankful enough to everybody at home watching. And my brother-in-law said go get another one this weekend, so here you go.
All right, guys, that's your second overall, Jordan Ashburn.
There you go. Jordan likes the mud.
He likes the mud, and he got the job done today with the win in that XC1 class. Upstaged a little bit by our XC2 rocket, Grant Davis, but nonetheless, Jordan Ashburn has done Playboy. Jordan Ashburn has done so well here the last several years, and really showing how much he does like this John Penton Thunder Creek facility again today. Just absolutely on rails all day long, and making it look pretty effortless out there.
And if I'm not mistaken, I think it was the year he won his championship. So we go back a couple of years, 2022.
He wrapped it up here. Yeah, and as well, we say that, and if we looked back at our previous winners, you didn't see his name on there because he won it the Burr Oak.
There it is.
That's in air quotes. It was the same facility, different name. We used to run it twice back in 2022. So he won the fall edition, which was called the Burr Oak, but same property, same racetrack. So it's definitely a track and a property that he gels quite well with. I believe maybe we have Liam Draper, our third place overall finisher and second place in XC1, looking like he's a little bit tuckered out.
We sure do. I'm here with Liam Draper. Liam, it's clear you left it all out on the track. Take us through your race here today.
Yeah, definitely left it all out on the track. Haven't felt this smoked in a while, but yeah, got a good start and was just in the pack. And towards the end of lap 1, I caught Ricky and then passed him in the pit. And lap 2, I tried to put a big sprint on to see if I could pull a lead, and I think that's what bit me in the ass on this last lap here. I'm feeling it, but pretty stoked to have a podium in the dust and have a podium in the mud in my first 3 XC1 races.
Yeah, you've had quite the showing here in the XC1 class. How do you feel going into the final round at Ironman?
Yeah, definitely looking forward to it. I would love to get a win, and hopefully we do that. So, yeah, big congrats to Grant Davis, man. That kid rode his heart out all year.
All right, guys, that's Liam Draper, second in class, third on the overall.
You know, Liam texted me last Saturday morning, and he said, I watched last year's John Penton GNCC, and I heard you doing the 10 seconds, and he said it brought back the memories and how great it felt. And today on the starting line, before we went over there, I went to Liam. I said, listen, Liam, I feel it today, man. I think you're capable of winning this one today. And whenever we were on the starting line, and I looked up and I seen him, and I got a nice little head nod from him, and I was like, this is going to be an exciting day. And man, to see him put it out, to see him spent the way that he has spent, you know that he really put a lot out there, and it was very taxing in conditions today, but nonetheless, I really like seeing that.
Yeah, amen, no doubt. And we have our third place finisher out of the XC1, Ben Kelly, ready.
All right, guys, I'm down here with Ben Kelly. Ben, you're back up on the podium once again. A muddy race here at the John Penton. Take us through it.
Yeah, this race was gnarly. I mean, I've raced here in these conditions before, and I like it a lot. And, man, that first lap was gnarly. We were just freight training and like a pack trying to break that track in. And, like, yeah, it's tough breaking it in. Felt like the pace was kind of slow, but, like, if you tried to pick it up, you'd just be sliding all over the place. And, yeah, so just kind of, like, felt it out that first lap. And Grant already caught us. And, yeah, just tried to work my way through the pack. You know, people were making mistakes and crashing, and so was I. And yeah, I just stayed steady all day. Kind of battled with Grant a lot, and yeah, just got tired that second to last lap. And I got stuck on the PowerPoint, and like I said, I can barely talk now. I'm just tired, and happy to be on the podium.
Ben, one more race to go here in 2024. How do you feel?
Feel good. Try to not get beat by the punks in XC2 at the next round.
All right, guys, that is your third place in the XC1, Ben Kelly.
Well, congratulations to Ben capturing that third in the overall. As we get ready to wind things down, we want to take a look at our specialized race recap. A muddy weekend, a hurricane weekend, if you will. XC1 off and rolling. They had a 10-second call from Rodney Tomlin, too, man.
Yeah, and watching these guys take off into that first turn, I wasn't sure how slick it was going to be. The front row actually did pretty good until about the second turn. We've seen a lot of bikes going down in that second turn, which jumbled things up going into the woods.
There you go. These guys running really in a freight train early on. Then they got to the Penton section, and things really got dicey. Jordan Ashburn wanting to make passes, trying to get around what was then Lyndon Snodgrass, but this guy out front was checked out and starting to run away. The 212 of Ricky Russell opened up a gap very early on after getting a good start. At one point was 23 seconds, and then Lyndon Snodgrass, Jordan Ashburn, and the rest picked up the pace, and they were able to reel him in nearing the end of lap number 1.
I tell you, conditions like this right here, it didn't take much to change things up and bobble things around, and you saw those big gaps shrink up very, very quickly, and that's what gave us the tight battles that we got to see at least toward the end of the race, I think.
Yeah, that section back there, not friendly to Stu Baylor today by any means, ended up
crashing there once, couldn't get the bike refired. Yeah, he lost a lot of time just in that little Monster Mile section for sure.
Tough break for him as we continue to watch recap. Johnny, we talked about it a little earlier. We will look in between now and the next round. That scenario you were throwing out about Grant Davis, maybe second overall after Stu not having a great day here today.
Yeah, I don't think that's a maybe. I think Grant has taken over second place in the overall points championship. So Stu Baylor going to have to put a couple points on him at Ironman to take back that number 2.
And that's something that it's been a while, if ever, that something like that's ever happened as far as the overall championship points, especially with the talent and the caliber of riders that we have racing off of road number 1.
Then Liam Draper took his turn at the front, getting his way around teammate Ricky Russell, actually pulling a little gap, as he pointed out, really putting in a sprint, trying to open up a gap. But looking back, here came the hero of the day, the 922 of Grant Davis, charging and trying to close the gap to our lead duo of Liam Draper and here we see Stu Baylor. This is the same section of racetrack one lap later, and you can see just frustrated, dejected, ultimately removing the goggles. The bike wouldn't refire. He did get going again. We will check and see exactly where he finished up. This was heading into the final lap of racing, and now Grant Davis had the leaders in his sights and time on his side.
Yeah, Grant Davis at this point kind of playing with house money and just wanting to keep them in his sights. And then it was, hey, I got around Liam. Let me see if I can get on the rear wheel of Jordan Ashburn. He was able to do that, but Ashburn and Jordan Ashburn fashion made it very difficult for Grant Davis to get around. We got some great shots of Grant going for it, choosing different lines, Johnny, and really just throwing everything at him but the kitchen sink, just unable to make anything stick.
And as per usual, Jordan Ashburn had an answer for everything that Grant Davis threw his way. This was coming through literally the final miles of racing. Grant Davis saying, well, here's this inside line. Feet out, not worried about form, just all gas, trying to close it down. But Jordan Ashburn not to be denied physically. But here you see Grant Davis again. Jordan Ashburn getting a little off kilter through that section, and Grant Davis just absolutely glued to him, trying to make the pass.
Yeah, Ashburn with a great save just right there. Trying to run it up the inside right there was Davis, and man, you got to hand it the old wily veteran that is Jordan Ashburn, just closing the door on him. And from here, it was just Ashburn hanging on to make sure he hung on to the pride of at least the physical lead, knowing that Grant Davis at this point was going to get that overall on the adjusted time.
Yeah, at this point, again, it was a matter of pride. It was a matter of grit, and Jordan Ashburn was not going to let the youngster around him, but you can see Grant Davis with the big celebration, just winding that thing up, and the team's getting together and just spraying both of these riders down, and Grant Davis still bringing out that KTM 250F, saying, hey, we're going to see if we can blow this thing up. And as you pointed out, Andy, Grant's mechanic, was also Jordan's mechanic when he won his championship So they absolutely were celebrating together. A very cool moment for GNCC Racing.
Yeah, absolutely cool shot. That's one I think Andy will put up on the mantle at home. So taking a look at your top 10, Grant Davis, Jordan Ashburn, Liam Draper, Ben Kelly, and Angus Reardon having kind of quietly a great day with a 5th. Cody Barnes going to be representing the ISDE, ending up in 6th, and Snodgrass, Strang, Duvall, and Nick DeFeo. How about that? A top 10 in his XC2 debut.
Only 1 second between Angus Reardon and Cody Barnes at the finish line, so those two battled right down to the finish for 2nd and 3rd in XC2.
Well, sensational day of racing here at the John Penton GNCC. Rodney, new segment we've been doing. I'll put all the pressure on you up front. Your big takeaways from today's race.
Well, obviously, with this being the longest standing race on the championship series, it comes in, it holds a lot of weight, and it also holds a lot of opinions. People either love it or they hate it. They might love it when it's dry. They might hate it when it's wet. And coming into this one, honestly, as muddy as it looked, it was a combination of both, as dry as things have been around here the last week or so. I'm really shocked and surprised. As muddy as it is, the track didn't deteriorate more than what it did. It actually held up pretty good, but it was traditional slick Ohio mud, which created its challenges, which made, I think, a great race face and presented us with the kind of racing that we had here all weekend, and with that spectacular finish that we saw here today.
Y'all got weird mud down here in Southeastern Ohio.
I can't help it,
I'm just
man.
Throwing it out there.
Just weird things happen over here.
Johnny, your big takeaways today.
I'll keep mine short and sweet. Youth versus experience.
Mercy.
We saw the youth of Grant Davis versus the experience of Jordan Ashburn, and today youth wins out, but that experience, you can never count it out. Jordan Ashburn able to hold him off, even physically, but Grant Davis getting the win on corrected time.
I'm going to double down on what Johnny said a couple of weeks ago. Jordan Ashburn, yes, he likes the mud, but he's just good when conditions get difficult. Dust, mud, doesn't matter. When it gets gritty out there, Jordan Ashburn is a tough man to beat. I think Grant Davis, absolutely the real deal out of that XC2 class, and I think Liam Draper, also a real deal. Now 3 podiums in 3 XC1 races. That is sensational.
Yeah, it's been very impressive to see his transition, and looking like he's trying to gain some momentum coming into 2025.
Well, we got one more round of racing for GNCC left this year coming up. We got a little break because we've got ISDE in between this, but we'll be back on Racer TV with the Ironman broadcast October 26th and 27th, and then we... Bagger Racing League. Yep. That's right. Willow Springs, California, November. And then we've got those GNCC highlight episodes coming out on Wednesday nights at 7 p.m. Eastern. Be sure to tune in to those. But that is going to wrap things up for us here today. On behalf of Jackson Burrell, Zach Herron, Johnny Gallagher, our very own Craig DeLong, Rodney Tomlin, our camera operators JC, Matt, Josh, Mike, Leah, Kirsten, Jack, and Chance, our drone pilot Gabe Scholl, manager Dan Reinhardt, engineer in charge Jordan McFadden, director Don Hampton, producer Adam Gordon, and our executive producer Carrie Joe Russell. I'm Mikey Waynes. We'll see you at the races.